Hey everybody, it's Jesty back again with Pirate 44. Say hi, Pirate.
What's up, everybody?
We've got the last round of March Mechness here for you, round 4 of the March Mechness MRC tournament. It's been quite a doozy, this tournament. I know it was brutal, especially this last round with the extra objectives. This is particularly interesting because each team gets extra VTOLs added on. Would you like to explain what these VTOLs do and how they operate?
Absolutely. So you basically get 5 VTOLs, and the mission is get to the choppas. So you want to protect your VTOLs while destroying the enemies in a mad, crazy air battle. And I think these are cavalries with a bunch of SRMs, but they're 4 5, so they're going to be sliding all over the place. So it's going to be a great match.
Oh yeah, pure chaos. Extra units means that the games are going to take a little bit longer on average, is what we were expecting. So instead of getting one movement per slide this time around, I'm getting multiple movements to try and speed up the process. We'll see if it works. If you guys don't like it, we'll go back to one unit at a time, if that's what you prefer. That way we can pick apart every individual movement. But for this time, we're going to try it a little differently. If you don't like it, or if you do like it, let us know in the comments or in Discord. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the lobby and see who our players are. We have Elroy representing the Aurigan Lunatics Mercenary Company. It's one of his own homebrew units. I'm not sure, what exactly they produce in the Aurigan Reach, but I know they've got at least clan tech off of the Mercenaries MUL, because I see a Timberwolf B right there at the top of the list. And what do we have here down? Who's our other player here, Pirate?
We got Sol Roth representing the honorable Clan Jade Falcon, who has never done anything wrong.
That's right. Malvina did nothing wrong. You know what? We'll go ahead and start with Elroy's list because it's up top and go down the units, just looking at them at a glance real quick. We've got the Mad Cat Timberwolf B. I'm not familiar with this particular variant. I'm assuming it's got some sort of large cannon on the side due to the sprite, maybe a Gauss rifle or a heavy large laser or something.
Yeah, but then we're following up with the classic, the Thug 10E. That's the original OG PPC murderer.
That's right. It's an intro tech unit, which means uh, Elroy is going to have some cheese bonus, at least a +1, maybe more if we look at some of the other units down here. Next up is the Black Knight BL-6B-KNT. That is a Royal variant SLDF Black Knight. I don't think that qualifies as intro tech, but it is Helm Memory Core tech.
Followed up is the Anvil, which, fun fact, usually gets paired with the Hammer mech for a hammer and anvil type action. So slightly disappointed not to see the hammer. I had to read that lore before we started here, but nice looking, well, very ugly mech, but a nice looking mech on the inside at least.
It's got feelings too. And next up, we've got the Wraith TR1, 55 tons of 7 jump. That's about all I know off the top of my head. I think there might be some pulse lasers with this particular model as well. We'll have to get into the record sheets in a little bit. And go ahead and
Last,
finish us off there, Pirate.
yeah, last but not least, we've got the classic Hunchback 4P. Everyone likes the G because it's got that giant autocannon, but the 4P is a big energy boat with no explodey ammo. So I'm real excited to see that on the field again because it is a great mech.
So one thing to note, Elroy does have a +3 cheese bonus because he has 2 intro tech mechs between that Thug E and the Hunchback 4P. So he's starting this match 3 points up, which, doesn't seem like a big deal, but in a tie match, those 3 cheese points can make the difference and push you into a win, which has happened in this tournament. If I remember correctly, there was a 100 to 100 max score game for both players, and one player had a +1 cheese bonus because they took a intro tech mech, and that pushed them over the edge to get the win. So they're not nothing. They definitely count, and they can make a difference.
If you're going to take intro tech, that's just a little incentive to make sure that you're showcasing your skills and not just the mix itself.
Exactly. Next up, we've got Sol Roth's list. Koshi Standard, 3 to start it off, and I am intimately familiar with this mech because I ran 2 of them in my list for a cheese bonus. It's got mask and jump jets, and it's got, I think, 6 heavy small lasers, so it's like a Dasher H that can jump and can't quite run as fast.
Well, and you'll notice his pilot names. He's got Mystic Chaos there, followed by Ravage Cabbage and a Koshi Eye transporting some clan medium battle armor, the Rosh. Anyway, that's a good battle armor, but the Koshi Eye, I'm not too familiar with that. Main thing I know is that battle armor can jump forward and really surprise people if it's the one I'm thinking of, but I'm going to guess the Koshi Eye is probably some sort of electronic warfare mech.
Yeah, that would be my guess because the Koshi 3 standard, or the Koshi standard 3, does have an active probe. I'm assuming the Eye would have an active probe as well, but we'll get into the record sheets in a little bit. Following up is the Fire Falcon C. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Fire Falcon C. I know it's the Fire Falcon in general is kind of a pricey light for clans. We'll see, we'll have to get into the record sheets to get a little insight. I'm not, unless you know anything about it off the top of your head.
Some sort of laser boat.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And following it up, we have the Vulture / Mad Dog A that we're all familiar with. This one thing to note, almost everything is coming in at a 3-4, except for these last 2 mechs for Sol Roth. These are the Vultures coming in at a 3-3. This thing has SRMs 4 days, and I think it's got an LBX autocannon of some sort and a ERPPC, but that's not the important part. It's all about those SRM 6s.
And if you can get it to last more than 3 turns and not have an ammo explosion, Karinsky bless you, because I cannot get that thing to work, but I've been hit by it and it is no fun.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. It's a walking time bomb, but hopefully it'll be just as deadly to your opponents as it is to your own pilot. Also, the name is Animal Mother. We'll have to ask him about that one, with the Fire Falcon C's pilot name of 2 of Hearts.
And wrapping it out, you got Uncle Crawdad in the Marauder 2C5. Not familiar with that variant, but it's a Marauder 2C. It can't be too lightly armed or armored, so 3 pilot skill will come in clutch when he's kicking, because 85 tons of kick is well into head capping range.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm expecting to see a whole lot of lasers out of that thing, or PPCs, because it's a Marauder 2C. All right. You know what? Let's go ahead and start getting into some of these record sheets. We'll start off with the Koshi Standard 3, one I mentioned before that I'm intimately familiar with. One thing I forgot about is that it does have light tag and a targeting computer to counter out those heavy small laser +1 penalty. So it's a little bit better than a Dasher H. It's a little more well-rounded. It can jump, it can tag, it's got an ECM and a probe. Any thoughts on this particular Koshi Standard 3, Pirate?
Well, I still prefer the Dasher H personally, just because of the extra lasers, extra chance to hit. The tag is nice, the active probe is nice for the city mission, but at the end of the day, some people like Hawaiian pizza, some people like sausage, and this is not a bad choice, but give me a Dasher H if I really want to do that backstabbiness, but it's a good mech.
Let us never speak of Hawaiian pizza again. I enjoy this mech. I put it to good use because considering I ran 2 of them, it did real good on the death race relay and the city fight. Unfortunately, in this round 4, they didn't do too well because it's basically a stand-up fight with extra steps. Let's get into, I do believe, the next Koshi. There it is, the Mistlink's Eye. Oh, wait, what do you know? 7-11-6 movement profile on both of these Koshis. And this one's got 5 SRM2s, a narc beacon, and an active probe. So that we're doubling up on probes here.
Surprised it's not a streak SRM2 since you got a narc beacon, but you have a pretty high chance of hitting with all your missiles with SRM2. One thing I didn't appreciate about the smaller SRM packs is the cluster table means kind of a 50-50 shot of hitting with everything. So, this looks like a decent mech at, 689 BV before you start changing pilot skills. So, still lightly armored. 1 medium clan pulse laser can go internal on almost anything it hits, but I'm excited to see how these 2 little backstabbers go at it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he utilizes it and if there's any terrain to take advantage of. But yeah, the Narc will pair up nicely with the other missile boats that he has in his list. Let's get into the next mech. Fire Falcon C. 812 movement profile, no jump, 25 tonner. Let's get into the weapons here, Pirate.
So I was wrong. I was thinking it was a laser boat, but actually, besides the pulse and the small pulse, it's got 4 machine guns and 2 SRM 6s. So it's 812 runners. So it's also fast. This is a very fast list. It looks like so far, but those machine guns. That this is your crit seeker. But I would love to see it chase down some light mechs as well. But for the purpose of today, if it can get in close, it's got a lot of chances to hit something on that helicopter.
Yeah, definitely. And it's heat neutral. It's basically a expensive locust, from what I can tell, with an active probe. So he's got 3 units with probes, which definitely would have helped in rounds 2 and in round 3. Not going to do him any good in round 4, though. Let's get into the next mech.
And you say no good, it can hit units in woods with -1. So if anybody did try to take a sniper and play turret tech, he's got a lot of units that have -1 to hit that mech.
That is true. It's not nothing, it is something. And we'll see if that something will count for anything during the match. Uh, Up next, we've got the beloved Vulture Mad Dog A, one of the most well-known short-range missile boats out there, coming in at a 5'8 movement profile and 60 tons. He's got, there it is, an LB-5X, an ERPPC, 3 SRM-6s in the left torso, and 3 SRM-6s in the right torso. That's a lot of stuff that can blow up in that mech.
The thing that doesn't normally come in clutch here is the LBX5. So that's got, was it -5 to hit VTOLs or something crazy? So this is your helicopter killer.
I think it's -3, -1 for cluster, and then another -2 for flak, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, though.
Yeah, we'll quote Jesty on that later.
Damn it. All right, let's get into the next mech. And there it is, the Marauder 2C5, coming in at 85 tons, 4.6 movement profile, 2 ERPPCs, 2 AP Gauss rifles, 1 in each arm, and then a Hag 20 in the left torso. Ooh, that is spicy.
And that Hag 20 also has flak. So this is another one that can, shoot helicopters out of the sky. The 2 ERPPCs is dual head cappers there. I'm excited to see that just start popping off things unexpectedly.
I actually like this variant of the Marauder 2C. It is completely heat neutral. You can run and fire everything every turn and sink it all perfectly. Just don't get hit by any infernos.
No.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up for the mechs. Let's get into the battle armor. Here we go. Clan medium battle armor, Raish, Rochelle. I don't know. We'll figure out how to pronounce it one of these days, but not today.
Yeah, so you've got, the Rochelle battle armor. We're just going to go with that. It's got the SRM 3s, it's got the machine gun, but the real kicker here is it can jump 4. So everybody usually stays 3 away from battle armor, but then this thing jumps on them anyway. So leg attacks are going to probably be popular here. I haven't really seen many swarms in MRC games. I think we've all figured out how to get battle armor off of us. So we'll see if that occurs. But the jump 4 is the real surprising thing here. And it's still pretty heavily armored.
Yeah, I don't think you ever really want to swarm unless the mech is somehow immobile and unconscious, because they can always thrash or go prone to knock you off and then thrash and just wipe out your entire squad of battle armor. Real easy to do. May not be the most efficient turn, but it's very risky to do that against anybody who knows how to counter battle armor. And we just told everybody how to do it. So, don't do it unless you know you can get away with it.
And
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Pirate.
look at that BV there, 372. So this is about, what, 90 or so cheaper than regular battle armor elementals. Could be wrong. Maybe it's only like 40.
Uh,
But you've got cheaper battle armor for almost as good in that jump 4.
He does have them at a 3-3 skill level on his list. Let's take a look at it real quick. They're coming in at 491 battle value.
Still 491 when the regular elementals are somewhere in that mid 400s. Now you're making me check it.
Yeah, and they're usually at 3-5 when they come in the mid 400s. So dropping the piloting skill, which will mean easier melee hits.
Correct. So he's got a better skilled unit for -1 armor, for +1 jump, and not that much BB difference. I like him.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. There's two SRM3 one shots. Can those both be fired in the same turn? I could have swore we saw somebody do it earlier in this tournament.
I'm pretty sure yes, but let's see if he decides to do that.
Yeah, good call. All right, so that sums it up for Sol Roth's list. Let's take a look at Elroy's list.
So starting out here, because I'm just going to go ahead because I love this mech. The Hunchback 4P, like I said, it's got 6 medium lasers, which pretty sure that's heat neutral for this mech. So it can fire, or at least most of its lasers. It can fire them all. It can run and still maintain its heat efficiency. So besides being crit seeking, it can do what's that 8 times 5, 40 damage. So it can do more damage than the Hunchback OG while still not having any exploding ammo. I don't know about you, but I've lost way more Hunchbacks to ammo explosions than literally anything else. So this is a good insurance policy.
Yeah, this is the classic swayback, the intro tech version. Unfortunately, I've never ran a Hunchback with the classic AC-20 because of all the horror stories of them blowing up. So I tend to shy away from things that go explodey very, very often. But this is a solid mech. It's one of the better intro tech mechs. It's pretty slow at 4.6, but the maps we tend to play on, at least for March Mechness, are fairly small. So it'll eventually get to the fight, and it's almost heat efficient. It's got 23 heat sinks and 8 medium lasers coming in at 3 heat each. It'll generate 24 heat if it alpha strikes, so you'll be 3 heat over if you run and alpha strike with those medium lasers. You'll be at the perfect 4 heat if you actually are in range to fire that small laser too. But then you just drop the medium laser and the small laser next turn, and you're back to being neutral.
Yeah, I enjoy this mech, and for no other reason than that, but it has hand actuators too, so if you really need to, you can punch, but I think the punch only does as much damage as the arm-mounted laser, so you got to be real desperate if you want to punch with this.
Yeah, or I mean, you have a better chance of hitting the head if you go for the punch table. So if you've already got that cockpit opened up, and 5 damage will go internal or destroy the cockpit, that's your time to punch.
That's true, because you get a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the head instead of a 1 in
A 3,
50.
yeah, basically a 3% chance normally, roughly. All right, let's get into the next mech here. From the Hunchback, we go to the Thug, the second intro tech mech on this list. One that you're very familiar with, aren't you, Pirate?
Yeah, I'm definitely not placing an Ironwind Metals order or driving up to see them sometime later next month to get 2 thugs. So yeah, I'm real excited to see this one because it's gotten 2 PPCs, so it's going to get pretty hot. It's going to run 20 heat just firing those 2. It's only got 19 heat sinks, so if you walk, because you don't want to be running too much with this unless you're getting a defensive bonus and fire those 2 PPCs, you're already at 2 heat. And you can't fire the SRMs as well without getting into the danger zone. And you don't want to overheat on a mech with ammo, because you don't want to accidentally cook it off and boil your insides. But this thing just has a lot of armor and it weighs 80 tons, so it's a head capper if you can get in the right position to kick. And I just really enjoy seeing it tank and throw damage round after round.
Yeah, this mech has been real popular in this tournament. I think there's been multiple people running it besides you, and from what I've seen, they've been putting it to good use. I'm excited to see if he can get the Thug to perform for him as well. All around, this Thug THG-10E is solid. It's intro tech, and it's stood the test of time.
Well, and it can work on its own because you have your hole punchers and your crit seekers. So it's kind of like the Warhammer. It's just the classic open you up on the outside, and as you close in, start poking around on the inside. And against clan mechs, this will be spicy.
Oh yeah, it's the full package, as some like to say. Let's get into the next mech. We've got the Black Knight BL-6 little b-KNT, and that little b signifies that it's a SLDF Royal variant, which means clans tend to have some of these laying around as museum pieces as well. Let's go ahead and get into the weapons here. It's got, oh, well, first it's got a 4.6 movement profile coming in at 75 tons, and then we can get into the weapons. Sorry, Pirate.
Nah, you're good. So you got your 4 medium lasers, which are backing up 2 large pulses and a ER PPC. So those are all rounded out with a Beagle Active probe again for finding those things in woods. But this one I want to like it, but uh, Intersphere ERPPCs just seem pretty bad on the heat to damage trade off. And if I'm counting that right, firing his 3 main weapons puts him at 35 heat, and he only has double heat sinks, 8 of them to make it 32. So if he runs and fires just his 3 main weapons, he's already at 5 heat. So he's going to have to cycle. And I don't like mechs that are that inefficient because then you're paying for weapons that you're not using every turn. But it does give him some variety of options, so it's not a bad unit. Just be trickier to play effectively, I think.
Well, looking at the range brackets here, that ERPPC is the only thing that reaches out past 10 hexes. So once you close the gap and you're within 10 hexes, you're probably going to drop that ERPPC for some of these pulse lasers. That way the -2 will be trading off for the long range that they're at, generally speaking. So it's not as heat inefficient as it looks at first glance, because you're never going to fire that ERPPC and in short range unless things are going wrong. You're better off firing those pulse lasers to get more damage out of your heat expenditure.
Oh, and that's a good point. And if you take out that ERPPC, then it can fire everything and standing still and be heat neutral because you're doing 20 plus 12 is 32. So yeah, you're heat neutral if you don't move, or walking just gives you a little bit. So it's not as bad. You're correct on that.
But it's a good mech. I like it. We'll see how he does with it. Next up, we've got the Anvil ANV-3R, coming in at 60 tons, 5.8 movement profile. Ooh, I like this weapon loadout. Go ahead, Pirate.
2 large pulse lasers backed up by 2 medium lasers, and they're all torso mounted, and he has hand actuators. So this guy needs to go, and I've said it before, and I never get to do it. He needs to go find a club, and then he needs to use it in melee while also shooting all his torso weapons, including one that's in the head. So I've not actually heard of this. I've not actually used or seen this mech used until tonight's match, and I'm definitely looking at this like I'm missing something here. There's a mech there that I need to explore more.
Yeah, and it's not too heat inefficient either. It's got 24 heat sinks total, 12 doubles, and the 2 large pulse lasers are 10 heat each, and a medium laser is 3, so he can walk, fire the 2 large pulses and 1 medium and stay heat neutral, or he can go a little over and fire the medium or run, and then, drop the medium next turn to get back down under, in the negative heat range, so he stays cool. I like this mech, not bad.
One thing I didn't see on the Black Knight, but that might have just been me missing it. I know that Hunchback doesn't have an XL engine. I know that Thug doesn't have an XL engine. This doesn't have an XL engine either. So if that Black Knight doesn't either, I wonder if that was an intentional um, play there to reduce his chance of having torsos blown out, given that you don't have to start retreating in this tournament when you're in force withdrawal.
That's correct. You are free to zombie around the map, and I'm tempted to take a look at that Black Knight again real quick. No, there's the Thug. That's too far back. Where's the Black Knight? Come on, hurry up. There he is. And no, you're correct. No XL engine in either torso. So, then back to the Anvil. He's definitely got zombie power on his side so far. But we'll get into the last mech. Oh, well, second to last, I think. The Wraith TR1, 55 tonner, coming in at 711.7 movement profile. Uh, Not bad, not bad for an Inner Spear mech. Go ahead. What kind of weapons are we looking at here?
So this is the classic. I say that, and then I didn't know they existed till last winter. But this is the classic Jump 7 pulse laser boat. So he's got a large pulse laser backed up by two mediums. He only has 20 heat sinks, and those are not improved jump jets. So he's got to play the heat game a little bit or do some hit and runs. But you know, being able to jump and then having -2 to hit is just a nice thing. And they're arm mounted weapons, so he's got some variability in how he twists. Um, I like this mech. I've seen it played efficiently for its BV quite often.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think it's called the Horned Owl. There's a version of it that looks just like this, except it's clan. So everything's slightly better, but it's also more expensive. So I'm interested to see how he uses this and if there's going to be any backstabbing with that 7 jump. Because so far, I don't think there's been a whole lot of jumping on his list.
Correct.
All right, I think that may have been the last mech. Let's check. Nope, I take that back. Last but definitely not least, we've got the Mad Cat Timberwolf B coming in at 75 tons, 5'8 movement profile. The classic Mad Cat everybody all knows and loves. What kind of weapons do we got here?
That is a good question. What kind of weapons do we have here? So I think this is the cheaper of the Mad Cats, but it's got a large pulse, a Gauss, an LRM-10 with Artemis, an SRM-4 with Artemis, a small pulse laser. So, you know, I respect the periphery for being ingenious, and this is a clan mech though. So I can't help but wonder if they basically said, what if we just threw a bunch of salvage together and see if we can make a mech tip over for being too heavy on one side? Because it's a weird loadout, but I'm sure in practice it actually plays well because you got two hole punchers and then a bunch of crit seekers. Well, three of them, but it reminds me of like the catapult H2, where you look at the weapons and you're just like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, I agree with you there. This is an odd weapon loadout. You got the Gauss rifle and the large pulse and the LRM-10. And you can fire all of those because he's got 30 heat sinks. In fact, you can alpha strike every turn and you're free and clear and nowhere near overheating. It's one of the oversunk clan mechs, and that is real cheap battle value for a Mad Cat, coming in at just over 2,200 battle value. You usually never see a Mad Cat that cheap, so makes you wonder. It's got a good movement profile for a 75 tonner, so the punches and kicks will hurt if he ever does close into melee, which he really doesn't need to with 3 long range weapons.
I wonder if this is like distraction card effects, where someone goes, that's a Mad Cat. Now I have to focus all my attention on it, when actually that's not where the real punch is on his list, because um, he's got quite a bit of other firepower in this list. So I wonder if this is I needed a Mad Cat, I wanted a Mad Cat, but in practice, it can be a nice distraction.
Yeah, one thing to note, he's only got 8 rounds of Gauss rifle ammo in this Mad Cat. So I don't I'm interested to see whether he picks his shots or if he just goes in guns blazing with this thing. Uh Ammo conservation may not be in his lexicon.
Well, and the other thing is Gauss ammo doesn't explode, so he doesn't have to dump it like that Thug. That Thug has more ammo than it can shoot in the entire game. So that Thug, if it can, it's going to want to be firing a couple off. So if it ever does cook off an ammo explosion, it's less likely to totally trash the mech.
Yeah, that's correct. Gauss rifle ammo does not explode, but there's plenty of other ammo to explode with that LRM-10 and the SRM-4. Not to mention the Gauss rifle itself will explode on the first hit it takes for only 20 damage, but that's still 2 pilot hits, regardless of how much damage you take from the explosion.
That's true.
All right, well, that's all the record sheets. Let's take one last look at these lists and what kind of overarching theme do we see here?
So I like that they're different. And I like that within the list, they're not necessarily all just the same mechs. So if we looked at Sol Roth's list, you've got a couple anchors, like you've got your Marauder 2C, then you've got your Mad Dog, which is going to be moving up field as well. Battle armor is always fun to play with. Then you got your speedy boys. So I like that there's some dynamics, and realistically, it looks like a very aggressive clan list. Get up, get in their face, but at the same time, that's not the only thing. He doesn't just have initiative darlings. So I do like that list. That looks like one that I wouldn't mind running because I understand it.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that he's got 3 light mechs. Granted, they're all 3/4, so they're likely to nail their shots, but one of the clan's biggest strengths is battle armor. I'd like to see him maybe drop one of the Koshis or the Fire Falcon for another set of battle armor and then trade up one of those other light mechs for a medium. Maybe get a Ryukin in there or, a Black Lantern, some sort of beefier, quick unit that can take a hit more so than these 3 light mechs can. Uh, Battle armor is the clan equalizer. You should use it if you have the opportunity to. At least that's just how I feel about running clans, especially at about 10k battle value. You can get 3 solid mechs and then 3 different sets of battle armor and be on a pretty good even playing field with Inner Sphere running 6 mechs.
Especially if you're doing leg attacks. So like that Clan Rash, if it can jump in, it can leg attack that Wraith, then there's a pretty good chance that you can basically take that thing out of the fight quickly because if it can't move, that Wraith is basically a short range pulse bow.
Yeah, and speed is life. When you can jump, that means you've paid somewhere else and either defense or weaponry in order to get that jump. So
I wonder if that Wraith is going to end up being his helicopter killer because we got the Mad Cat. Yes, it had pulses, and so did the Black Knight. But the Wraith is probably the only thing there that can really keep up with the helicopters and take some good shot.
yeah, so let's get into Elroy's list. All right, so Elroy's got the Mad Cat B, the Thug E, and the Black Knight. Those are all real big, chunky, and pretty heavy hitters.
Yeah, so I like this list too. I wish it had another fast mech. That's probably what the Wraith is going to take the place of, and you got the helicopters, so it's not as bad this time. But I am excited to see those heavy mechs get up and get in people's faces, especially the Thug.
Yeah, especially since this is basically just a stand-up fight. It's going to come down to positioning and terrain for Sol Roth. He's going to have to outmaneuver these big old slabs of meat that can take a beating and give better than he's getting. I'm pretty interested to see how these players are going to utilize their cavalry attack helicopters. Whether they're going to hide them and try to conserve points, or use them aggressively to try and kill each other's mechs or each other's helicopters.
So the name of the game is to kill the copters. Of course, you can get 25 points for keeping your helicopters alive, and up to 25 for destroying the enemy's helicopters. I know if I was playing it again, I'd change my prioritization. I think I'd rather go for a couple more kills than the choppers themselves. But definitely, it'll be interesting to see who's turtling versus who's going. You know what? I'm just going to throw them out there because I need kills.
Yeah, my list was pretty fire anemic, so I had to throw my helicopters out there, and it didn't end well for me, especially because I had a pretty bad streak of luck there. But let's get into this match and see how it goes and take a look at this map. Here we are. Wow, that's a lot of open terrain on Elroy's side, and they are all spread out across the map on each side. Going from north to south, they're just almost an even spread, except for Elroy with only the Wraith TR1 and 1 helicopter in the northern half of the map.
So this is another one of those where it's interesting to see the way they deploy. Um, he's got helicopters in the north, which are pretty protected. Sol Roth does. Elroy's got one as well. I'd be interested to see that Wraith moving across the map to try to pick off those guys who think they're safe by being far away. But you know, with the speed that Sol Roth has, he can pretty much go wherever he wants. He's got his fast boys kind of in the middle, so he can basically dictate if he wants to go to that hill to the south or move up through the trees in the north.
Yeah, there's quite a few trees in the middle and on Sol Roth's side. We'll see if he can utilize them to his advantage. Maybe get some cover before just, diving in and butting heads with a heavy inner sphere list with a Mad Cat thrown in for good measure. All right, let's start getting into some of these early moves. So we're not going to go one move at a time, but we'll be going a couple moves. And right out the gate, it looks like that Mad Cat just ran straight up, and the Marauder 2C has moved up to a perch to start sniping.
So, easy positioning there because if you're up one level, then everybody on ground level can't get cover. My only criticism of that maybe is I kind of prefer the Marauder to go to that middle hill in the middle of the map, just because now he's kind of shoehorned there, and there's plenty of cover between those trees and those two hills that he's going to have line of sight blocking issues. I'd rather see him dominate the center.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I would have liked to see him move here. It's the same exact little sniper nest. It's a little bit further away. I don't think he would have been able to make that run in one turn with the forest in the way, but I think spending in one extra turn to get a better vantage point might have been worth it. In the middle, you can see pretty much the entire map, and there's nowhere safe for those helicopters to hide, especially because there's only elevation 1 and 2 throughout this whole map, maybe a 3 here or here, but those aren't exactly ideal locations to hide from a sniper with a Hag 20.
The other thing is the rules here state that you can't go landing the helicopter. You have to be level 1 minimum. So it's not like he can, sneak over and drop the helicopter on the ground behind a level 1 piece of terrain. He'd have to find something that's 2 levels high. And I can really only see 2 pieces of terrain that are 2 levels high. That's those woods right in the center of the map and that one you just marked there.
Yeah, there's very limited places to hide one of these VTOLs. If you were with a more defensive-minded player, you could have used your map reroll and maybe got something a little more cover or more hilly so you can hide your VTOLs behind. But neither player decided to do that. They both were okay with this map, and we're going to see how it works out for them. Opening moves, not too special. And then we've got the Koshi 3 running up. That's a pretty far run. He definitely probably activated his mask to get there. Or maybe that was just a straight flat run. And then we also have the Black Knight moving up a little bit, starting to close the distance.
What's the Koshi going for, though? Because it's got short range weapons. So I'm not really seeing. If it was trying to position for turn 2, it's on a hill, so it's going to take movement to get off the hill. And it can't really shoot much of anything. So kind of, I know it's got partial cover there, but kind of confusing me what it's doing.
It can jump for 6, but I definitely don't like this positioning for the Koshi. I'd like to see him hide it better. I would rather have him be down here to the south, way out of line of sight, and nowhere near getting shot. Maybe behind back here, so that way he can be safer, or run it all the way up to the middle behind this level 2 hex, where you're definitely safe and you're in prime striking position.
And if he was jumping 6, he looks like he can get to those woods in the center of the map. So, I mean, that's a fair call if he's trying to sneak up to there. But yeah, I'm always sad when I see a mech with short range weapons get blown up before it can get that far.
Yeah, he's got options for his next turn, but I don't know if I like any of those options that he's given himself. We'll see how it plays out. Also, nothing really to write home about. The Black Knight moving up and the Thug moving up to a little sniper spot right here. Similar to the Marauder 2C5. I would have liked to see that Thug, if he's going to snipe with him, move here to the basically symmetrical sniper spot that Elroy has as well.
And normally I'd say the inner sphere mechs need to get up the map as quick as they can to close the distance with range. but he's playing against a pretty short range clan list, so that's not quite as important unless he's trying to get the Marauder.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. The onus is on Sol Roth to get points early, or to get points period, because Elroy is up by 3 points. If they both decide to sit on each other's, or sit on their respective sides of the map and take pot shots at each other all game, Elroy's going to come out ahead. Not maybe there'll be a lucky shot here or there, but Elroy's up right now. So
Well,
Sol Roth needs to respond.
well, you've got Clan Jade Falcon, which isn't known for backing down, and a mercenary literally called the Aurigan Lunatics. So I think we're going to see a pretty aggressive fight.
That is fair. For all I know, it could be a shin kicking contest after 2 rounds. All right, let's see where the next moves take place. Fire Falcon moving up a bit. No helicopters really moving. The Koshi Mislink's Eye moving up with the battle armor toward the center of the map and some forests. Looks like a run, because that's definitely, maybe it was a jump, depending on where he was before. He could have made it there with 6 hexes.
Oh, and then you got the Anvil following up to protect the Madcap there, but outside of that, basic positioning, everybody's probably running or jumping, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of good effective firing this turn, especially since what's left is that Wraith. That Wraith could probably get up and do some pulse laser damage, but that Mad Dog's probably going to run, and its Hag is, or not Hag, LBX. I would take a pot shot with the helicopter if you even could, but it's also going to run.
Yeah, there's very few units left to move, and there's no reason to split up as far as I'm concerned. I'm worried that Wraith is going to be off in no man's land, not really accomplishing much up in the north, because that's where he's aimed currently. We'll see. It's very maneuverable, so he can get to wherever he needs to be within a turn or two.
And it's not bad to keep him up there either, because if Sol Roth decides to try to hide his helicopters in the north of the map because all the action's in the south, your pulse laser jumper will be a good one to try to hunt them down.
Yeah, that is also true. He's one of the better helicopter hunters. Let's get into the next sets of movement. Oh, and there's that Wraith moving up top, and the Mad Dog moving into some forest. Didn't go very far, but looks like he's trying to stay defensively positioned for the time being. Hunchback waddles up 3 or 4 hexes, and it looks like it's just mainly the helicopters left to move. Both players reserving their helicopters for last. All right, up in the north section of the map, we've got 2 helicopters and a Wraith. I'm a little worried that Sol Roth got so close to the edge of the map, and Elroy did, although they may not have turned while they were flanking, which is basically running for these helicopters. You have to make a piloting check if you flank and turn, and you can skid. The reason I know this is because I had a helicopter skid off the map and blow itself up, which is not ideal.
I had exactly the same thing happen, and it was a case of I moved the helicopter and went, where did he go? Literally did not even think about that happening.
See, I knew it could happen, but I thought the distance you could skid was determined by how much move you had left, not how much move you had already done. So I figured, oh, I've got 1 more hex to move. Let me turn right here and I should be fine, even if I skid. And I skidded for 2 hexes and flew off the map. So that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Whoa, okay. There's a lot of helicopter movement all at once. It looks like Sol Roth has a trio of helicopters closing in on that Wraith up in the north, and Elroy has brought another helicopter up to support the Wraith and try to fend off this assault from this quad, including this one up in the north, set of helicopters going for that Wraith. He's got the numbers in the north on the air war. We'll see if it'll work out for him.
Now, the thing to realize is those helicopters only have front firing arcs, so I'm pretty sure Elroy's 2 helicopters up there can shoot at Sol Roth's, but I don't know if Sol Roth's can return fire.
Looks like the 3 down here should be able to fire on this helicopter, but I don't know if the shot is worth it for any of the other ones up there. That's got to be at least medium, possibly long range for those SRM 6s, And the Wraith and the cavalry attack helicopters are pretty quick, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's either very high target numbers or impossible shots for these particular helicopters.
Well, is it a 4-5 skill that they're at? And
Yeah,
all of them probably went flanking to get +2 to their shots, so they're at sixes before you even get to the enemy's fire, which is at least 4 or 5. So you're looking at 10s, 11s minimum just in short range.
yeah, more than likely they're going to be either impossible shots or boxcars needed. And down in the south, it looks like uh, Elroy's keeping his mechs pretty close together. We have Black Knight and Hunchback paired up, along with the Mad Cat and the Anvil paired up. The Thug down here doing a little sniper thing, and 2 cavalry attack helicopters moving up to get eyes and keep that Koshi honest. I think that's all the movement for this turn. We can get into the firing lines and see who has shots on what.
Well, Marauder 2C is doing sniper stuff. See it going after the Hunchback, it looks like, probably because it has a low TMM and the Southern attack helicopter. So I bet the Hag is probably going against that helicopter and the, what was it, ERPPC maybe? No, I forget what
Yeah,
he had on that 2C.
yeah, I think he had 2 ERPPCs and the Hag 20, maybe.
Yep, so those 2 PPCs on the Hunchback and the Hag just to get that bonus on the helicopter and try to take him out. Looks like the likely play there.
Yeah, and it looks like those helicopters didn't move all that far, so they may have only walked, which is not good for their target number.
No.
Up top, we've got the Vulture and the Fire Falcon taking shots on one little helicopter right here, along with one helicopter exchanging fire with it. The Wraith taking a pot shot at one of Sol Roth's helicopters, and most of the other ones aren't drawing lines of fire. They might not have had a decent target number. More than likely, there's boxcars for these particular lines right here.
So I'm excited to see really if anything hits anything. I think the best shot is the Marauder 2C.
All right. You know what? I'm excited as well. Let's get into this combat log. All right. What do we have here? Round 1. Okay. Movement phase. Everybody. Oh, actually, looks like Sol Roth, one of Sol Roth's helicopters failed a piloting check and skidded once. So,
No, only one hex though.
yeah, it's not bad. He's fine. I wish my helicopter only skidded for one. All right. Getting into the firing, we've got one of Elroy's helicopters damaging the rotor on one of Sol Roth's helicopters.
Now, what is a rotor? So that's where it's basically like I've heard it called a freebie point, where you have like the entire rotor is just one armor, but it can soak up one entire hit regardless of what the hit is or something, right?
Yeah, I think the way it works, because I haven't read these rules in like a year, but the rotor reduces damage dealt by like a factor of 20 or something ridiculous to a minimum of 1. So if you hit the rotor with anything less than like a 40 damage punch or something, or a kick somehow, you're going to do 1 damage to that rotor. And generally, the rotor has 1 or 2 armor. So you can take 1 or 2 hits to the rotor, possibly. But if you get a through armor crit and you nail that rotor, that helicopter is crashing pretty much immediately.
That's probably what it is, because I remember hitting some of these helicopters with like a PPC and they took 1 damage. So good.
Yeah, and one thing to note, you really want to get on the side arcs for these helicopters. One thing Brad mentioned to me is that you have more of a chance to hit the rotor on the side arcs than you do on any of the other arcs, even better than rear. And you want to hit the rotor to put the helicopter down, not having to chew through its armor. So more kind of like a headshot for a VTOL.
We were talking pulse lasers earlier. That Mad Cat B looks like it scored a direct hit on the Koshi's center torso, and it's now opened up to the elements.
Yeah, that is a perfect 10 damage to have 0 armor remaining on the Mistlink's eye. Misses with the LRM-10 though, but nailed him with the pulse laser, needing 9s and rolled a 10. Unfortunately for the Koshi, his rebuttal with the Narc Pod misses, needing boxcars.
Same with the Fire Falcon. It didn't really do much of anything, needing 12s, but the Mad Dog A there needed a getting cluster ammo What's that? Needs a 9, rolls a 9, 3 pellets hit. One of them's on the rotor.
Chipping away at that rotor armor. That's exactly what you want to see with a cluster weapon. That's why they're so deadly against these helicopters. You only need to tap it once or twice and it's dead.
Oh, but the Marauder misses everything. So does the Wraith.
Ooh,
And I'm seeing a lot of helicopters miss as well.
yeah, that Marauder had the best shot this turn from what I can see. Needed an 8 and missed it with the 7. That Hag would have ripped that helicopter a new one. But yeah, going down, it looks like we've got, oh, hey, one more hit on a rotor on one of Elroy's cavalry attack helicopters. But other than that, nothing to write home about. Nobody's overheating, and there's nobody in melee range. Coming up round 2, it looks like Sol Roth wins initiative. A 6 to a 5.
And that's what you want to see on the first round when you have all those high to hit numbers is unless you specifically know that you want to overheat because you're planning 2 turns ahead, not overheating the first turn is always a smart idea.
Yeah, especially on terrible target numbers like 8s, 9s, 10s, and 12s. Anything over a 7, and I would never bother overheating. All right, first couple of moves. Looks like Elroy had to move first, and he had to move 2 units first. So he scooches the Hunchback up and runs the Anvil up. And it looks like Sol Roth decides to counter by jumping or running his Koshi. That could have been either one. Into melee range with the Anvil. I know the Koshi's got a lot of damage in the short range, but it's extremely fragile. And kick is -2. I don't know if I like that play there, Pirate.
Well, again, you got a Jade Falcon player there, but if I'm looking really closely, did he jump into woods?
Yes, he is in woods in that particular hex, so there's a little bit of a bonus there. But I don't like getting into melee range with a mech that's more than double your tonnage with a Koshi, unless you're in their rear arc and they have no rebuttal to you.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm definitely sweating for the Koshi at this point, but I'll trust that there's something we're missing there.
Or maybe he's just hoping he rolls high and, double taps his head with those heavy small lasers. Also, one thing to note, not the Hunchback, the Thug stood still this turn.
That is an interesting one because I don't see any other of Sol's helicopters down south or mechs in general. So is he trying to line up a standstill shot against the Koshi? Almost rather him have walked and try to reduce that range bracket.
Yeah, especially with those inner sphere PPCs they got a decent range, but you really want to get to that short to medium range to take full advantage of them, especially against something as fast as a Koshi. All right, let's get into the next set of movement here. Oh, okay. So it looks like, I want to say Sol Roth moved his Koshi up next. This is the Koshi I, not the standard 3. And he's in head kicking range of the Anvil on level 1, right adjacent to his other Koshi. So there's a kerfluffle already going on basically in the dead center of the map within 2 forests. Both Koshis are in a forest, but the Anvil is not. Okay, no, I take that back. I apologize. The Koshi I is on level 1, if I remember correctly.
Correct. So he probably jumped 6, so he can get what's that? +2 for movement, +1 for jumping, +1 for wood. So he's at a 4 TMM, which isn't bad, and he is in, a chance to kick the head. Unfortunately, he just doesn't weigh enough to destroy it. Also, I'm noticing he still is carrying his battle armor. So if he's using it for extra armor, that would be one thing, but I'm pretty sure I can hear Sol Roth swearing through time at the moment.
Yeah, he may have forgotten to chump dump his battle armor. Not something you see very often, or it's a conscious decision to keep them on there because he doesn't want to drop them out in the open right there. There's plenty of mechs that can get a direct line of fire to them, and the turn you chump dump your battle armor, they have no TMM, which means they're an easy shot, even if they are in a woods and they get a +1 inherent bonus for being battle armor. I wouldn't take those odds. So we'll see if he decides to move off and dump them somewhere else.
The only good news is it's an Omni mech, so he's not losing anything or missing any weapons by having his battle armor scrambling all around the torso. All those SRMs are in the uh, right arm, or sorry, all those SRMs are in the left arm. All of the SRMs are in the left arm.
That
So,
is
yeah.
one unbalanced mech. More worryingly than not dumping the battle armor, the Mad Cat B is adjacent and on a level 1 hill next to that Mistlink's Eye. That is definitely within kicking range. I don't care where you hit him. That is going to be brutal if he connects with a kick on that Mistlink's Eye.
Oh, absolutely, because that's a 15 damage kick, and he's only got 11 leg, armor, and structure. So if he lands a kick, it's blowing a leg off.
Oh no, he'll be rolling on the punch table because that Koshi is on level 1 and the Mad Cat's on level 2.
Oh, the Mad Cat's on 2? Yeah, then that's a dead Koshi if that happens.
Yeah, that's worrying for sure. Let's get in the next set of movement here. See if any action happens up top. Nope. Kerfluffle continues in the middle. Looks like one of the ballsiest plays I've ever seen. The Fire Falcon C decides to charge into melee with the Mad Cat B. That's not where you want to be, little guy. He more than doubles your tonnage. In fact, I think he triples your tonnage.
That's okay. Again, Jade Falcons. So that's maybe he's going for the I can knock you over and then you won't be able to get up move. But yeah, that TMM is not great. You could get a better TMM going around the hill and then taking a side arc shot. But, you know, something to be said about playing aggressively.
Yeah. I mean, he does have the piloting skills to do the kicking. I'm just a little worried because I know that Mad Cat's got pulse lasers and he's in point blank range, which means it's going to be a very low target number. And the Black Knight moving up a little bit, closing the gap. He's got a lot of lasers to bring to bear, and he's got decent range on all 3 of those light mechs. I'm not liking this Kerfluffle in the middle, not one bit.
Yeah, especially since that Mad Dog's not going to be able to get up. I mean, it can run 8, so it can get sort of, kind of in there, but then there's trees blocking it, and can't really support them this turn very well. So yeah, that's a lot of units thrown pretty close when they're not in the rear.
Yeah, no, I definitely would have liked to see him utilize his speed a bit more, you know, have a little more finesse with these light mechs instead of just running them into melee against heavies and mediums.
Yeah, I'm curious what he's going to do with the Marauder 2C. Probably just stand it still again, because I don't think it can see those helicopters over on the other side of the map if you drop them down by 1 level.
Yeah, they're both, or all 3 of them, 4 of them, I should say. Oh, no, there's only 3 here, are on level 2 current, or on height 2. And it looks like there's at least elevation 1, elevation 2, and elevation 3, which means they're technically blocked because Marauder is only on elevation, I think that's 2. So
I wonder if he's doubled up the helicopters in the hex though, because I only see 4 of his helicopters on the field.
there might be one to the very north that hasn't moved yet because this
Oh, that's
shot,
right.
because the Wraith is out of view as well. This shot's
That's
cut
true.
off.
You're correct.
All right, so let's see what goes on. Maybe the cavalry's down south will move next, or that Wraith will move out. Oh, okay, there we go. Now we're talking. So
Did he just move that helicopter to try to get a rear shot? I don't think he was successful in getting a rear shot, but that Mad Dog definitely just moved up range.
yeah, he only ran for, is that 6 hexes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought the Mad Dog was a little bit quicker than that, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it is only a 4-6. And yeah, the cavalry helicopter I think is just 1 hex out of a rear arc, so that's going to be a right side arc, unless I'm mistaken.
No, I think you're right on that. It's going to be a right side arc, but you know, any shots that land will do some damage there.
Yeah, no reason to not start chipping away at that heavy mech. Uh-oh, it looks like we got reverse sort of weird conga line going over here?
So he threw another helicopter up there going, shoot, I didn't get a rear shot. I'm going to throw another helicopter up there to get a rear shot, which no, he's facing him the wrong direction if that cockpit looks right.
No, you're
Looks like,
right.
yeah, Sol was trying to get a rear shot on the helicopter, so Elroy moved another one up to shoot at Sol's helicopter.
Yeah, there's some helicopter on helicopter action going on here in the middle of the map. I don't know if I like that move, bringing this helicopter to the front arc of Sol's helicopter. That's not where you want to be. You want to be at least in the side arc, or ideally, you would like to be in the side arc, at the very least in the rear arc. Also, to
And
note, the Wraith looks like it jumped or ran, I'm not sure, into a forest over here, but he's got 4 helicopters that can all take the pick of rear arc on this Wraith if they so desire.
so when you find out it's actually a trap, and he's hoping they take the easy movement to get to a rear arc, when he can, I don't think he can arm flip, but he can definitely turn one of his arms.
Yeah, I don't know if I still want that many SRM6s in the rear arc of my mech. That's a lot of firepower between these extra 4 helicopters.
And I didn't see how far he jumped, but if he was able to jump 7, then that would have been doing the modifiers. That's 3 plus 1 plus 2 for the heavy woods, or it's 6s before you even get to the helicopter's 4. So, and if it were to move at all, your 11s and 12s. He's pretty safe.
That's fair. They are going to be hard target numbers, but with my luck, somebody will roll boxcars and then headshot him 3 times in a row or something.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see where the rest of these cavalry attack helicopters go. Oh, here we go. There's the conga line forming already.
I didn't know we were playing Alpha Strike.
Oh, conga lines happen in Alpha Strike too? I thought they only happen in Classic, or I know they're known for happening in Classic.
Oh no, that's where I see most of them is in Alpha Strike. So yeah, you've got basically the pattern snake going on here of Wraith Copter, Copter, Copter.
All right, I got a feeling those last 2 helicopters for Sol Roth are going to join the conga line somehow.
I've also got a feeling that those helicopters have a pretty low movement modifier because they're probably moving to get in range or position, not moving for maximum TMM.
Yeah, that too. But we've got another one joining this weird inverted conga line of helicopters here for Elroy, probably taking another shot at that cavalry in the rear of his 3rd cavalry attack helicopter. Just pointing out that the Anvil, the Anvil already moved. The Marauder 2C did stay still this turn, so he will be sniping from his little perch there, probably for the rest of the game if he's got anything to say about it.
And that's a hard one because I would want him to shoot at the helicopters for the objective points, but there is so much going on with those mechs in the middle of the map. I almost feel obligated to try to support those lighter units there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. You've got 3 light mechs going up against 4 mediums and heavies. It's not going to end well for those light mechs. You need to support them with as much firepower as you can bring to bear. And that HAG and that ERPPC on that Marauder 2C5 is definitely going to help level the playing field if you can land some good shots with it.
Now, Michael Stackpole, writing the novelization of this match, will show where the Fire Falcon pilot jumps out of his cockpit onto that Timberwolf and starts beating on the glass.
Yeah, or the Mislink's eye goes critical and takes out all 5 mechs.
The classic Stackpole there. They are in the little pentagon flower, hexagon flower.
All right, I think we're gonna get into lines of fire next. Oh, nope, 2 more moves. Another cavalry moving up. I think this one moved up north from the south. Not sure where it's going, but it doesn't look like it has line of fire on anything for now. And I don't know if I like this positioning. This particular helicopter right here should have moved into the same hex as this one to get another side arc on this particular helicopter to maximize your odds, or get into this arc or this arc and get rear shots on the Wraith. Right now, you're in front arc and side arc on the Wraith, respectively. not great positioning for this particular helicopter. Could be slightly better.
So that's if he wanted to shoot directly behind him, he's got two medium pulse lasers. If Sol was going to pick a side to put those helicopters on, he did pick the correct side because the Wraith can turn and hit either of those any of those helicopters with its right arm large pulse laser. Then it's only getting one shot instead of two. So I don't know if that was intentional, but that would be the better side to put them on, I think.
Gotcha. Uh, that's good. That's a good logic, and that's a good catch there. One thing that I just caught right now is this particular helicopter looks like it's
Oh,
out of compliance. There is a height ceiling for these helicopters of 5, and it looks like Sol Roth flew one up, or I'm sorry, of 4, and this one is at 5, which means he should be ejecting it if Elroy caught it, or if they both caught it or knew about it. He should be ejecting that helicopter at the end of the next round.
I
If
want
not, it might just be an oops and you didn't realize, or oh, I had enough movement to go down, but I just forgot to click go down. My bad.
I remember this coming up in the Discord, and it might have been this match where there was a oops, and it didn't necessarily affect the game state, and there was I want to say there was an agreement that settled it in a way that everyone was satisfied with, but I forget what the outcome was. So I guess we'll have to see what happens if this even is that match.
Yeah, it could have just been an honest mistake by Sol Roth and a missed error by Elroy. We'll have to ask him or have them comment in the comments below.
And one of the reasons why that height ceiling exists is if you really, really wanted to cheese somebody, you could just have a helicopter go up and down in the same hex, and it gets a TMM modifier without actually changing its facing. So you could, for example, park a helicopter right next to that Marauder 2C, which you know isn't going to move, and then get a maximum TMM every turn while still firing at it.
Yep, and the minimum exists, so that way you can't just park your helicopter behind a level 1 hill and say come get me, and it just basically turns into a stand-up fight with extra steps if you decide to do
Yeah, I would definitely never do that in playtesting and then cause that level 1 rule to be increased or added to the packet.
that. And that's exactly why we playtest. All right, well, that pretty much sums up the movement for this turn. Let's see what the lines of fire look like. Whoa, that is
Good night, a
crisscross.
lot of firing.
Yeah, so one thing to note, this match adds 5 extra units to each side. So the turns take a little bit longer. The firing, is a little more tedious because there's more stuff to click and more units to deal with. So a lot of people, this wasn't their favorite match, but a lot of people did enjoy this. I'm on the fence. The idea with the helicopters is cool. I just don't like the fact that they're real units that can cause real damage and that they're a threat. If they would have been like a scout helicopter with no weapons that you had to hide and protect, that would have been interesting. But this is basically just a stand-up fight with extra steps.
And, I really applaud the creativity of this mission. I think we all did figure out, crap, this adds a lot of time to each match. It was very creative, and we haven't really used extra units. And you're right, they are damaging units. They're kind of low damaging units, but they're still an SRM, so it's going to hit. Um, I also like that if we had played this a second or third time, those helicopters would have been like, ooh, loot boxes. I'll get those when I'm near them, but I'm going to focus on the fight. Instead, there was a lot of emphasis on nailing all the helicopters out of the sky real quick in other matches, including mine. And that definitely had an effect on the end result. But it was enjoyable, but the second time we play this, we'll probably change some stuff.
Yeah, definitely. In its current form for March Mechness, you can only get a maximum swing of 10 points, 5 negative from your opponent, and then a positive 5 for yourself. Whereas if you put a mech in force withdrawal, that's 10 positive for you and a -4 for your opponent. So it's a bigger swing to go after mechs than it is to go after the objective, which, it's a learning curve. It's our first time doing something like this. It's a great concept. It just needs to be distilled and refined a little bit.
I would love to see future tournaments, though, at least do one mission that is kind of out of left field like this, just because we need these fresh ideas.
Oh yeah, anything to shake up murdering each other back and forth over and over again.
I'm just waiting to murder each other on different cosmetic maps. I want to turn on that lunar and Mars terrain.
Oh yeah, the city fight was a nice change of pace, if you ask me.
All right, but so let's see that Marauder 2C, as we mentioned, it's going to take the Hag 20 at that helicopter in the center, but then it's also going to try to ping that Timberwolf, and I can't see it too well, but it looks like the Koshi is going after the Anvil. Maybe the Koshi in the center looks like it might be going after the. No, everything is going after the Timberwolf. He is focus firing literally everything on the Timberwolf.
Yeah, all three of those light mechs, the Mad Dog and the Marauder 2C, pouring fire into that one single mech. That might have been his best shot. No force because he's up on elevation, so it's probably his lowest target number.
Not only that, he's got to knock him over before he can head kick, and he's one of the 3-3 pilots, if I remember. Is he?
That is correct. He is a 3-3 pilot, so the odds of knocking him down, I think, are going to be slim for Sol Roth.
Oh, let's see. I believe in you, little Koshi eye in the middle there, but
Oh,
good knowing you.
I'm sorry. I apologize. The Mad Cat is only a 3-4.
Oh, well,
The
still,
Marauder 2C was the 3.
gotcha. So Sol Roth was running 3-3s on that, and there's one other, probably the Mad Dog.
Yeah, the Mad Dog was a 3. All right. You know what? That's enough looking at these lines. The Conga line is pretty much going to play itself out. The Thug sniping onto the Fire Falcon. Black Knight sniping, or not sniping, because he's pretty much in short to medium range onto the Fire Falcon. Hunchback doing his sway back thing, giving that Koshi eye a disco show. We'll see how these firing turn out.
Can't wait to see Elroy's helicopter 1 look like it's sitting on a white couch surrounded by those other ones there.
Yep, and there's all of the piloting roles. One of Sol Roth's helicopters fails, but nothing comes of it, so no harm, no foul.
Oh, and would you look at that? The Mad Cat, all those weapons, and it only gets a small pulse laser on the Fire Falcon, so definitely sweating there, but nothing eventful.
Looks like there was some interesting rolling here. It looks like they discovered that height 5 helicopter, and they decided to solve it by rolling for it because it must have been an honest mistake on Sol Roth's side.
Hey, there we go. So I love seeing players find a way to keep the game going and come into an agreement.
Yeah, that's some good sportsmanship there, guys. Appreciate it. And you're an example to the rest of the community. Thank you. Now getting into the actual firing, looks like that Mad Cat only nails the Fire Falcon C once with a small pulse laser. Everything else whiffs on 8s and a 6 for the large pulse laser. Bad luck for Elroy there.
Yeah, same with the Thug. Whiffs. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about that. Koshi scratches up the Anvil's armor a little bit, but the Black Knight there, though, I see some red, Justy.
Large pulse laser to the right arm, section destroyed. No more right arm for that Fire Falcon C, and 2 more damage to the right torso. So, what do we have here? Another large pulse laser, nail him in the right torso. Transfers internal. That's 1 engine hit on that Fire Falcon C already. And that's going to be a piloting check. No, those are not clan pulse lasers. There's only 9 damage. Oh wait,
Correct.
no, he did get nailed by the small pulse laser earlier. So I stand corrected. Corrected. That is a piloting check for that Fire Falcon C.
And the Koshi, though, it does attach a narc beacon to the leg of that Mad Cat, so at least it'll be easier to hit for the Vulture in a second before the Koshi explodes and scuffs it up, but that narc beacon's the more important part.
Yeah, and that's also good order of firing there. Getting that narc beacon attached so that the rest of your units can take advantage of the +2 on the cluster roll table. Uh, that's a sign of a good player right there who knows to fire things in the proper order.
Now, that's Narc Beacon you just mentioned. It's only +2 on the cluster table. It has nothing to do with auto hits or anything like in the video games, right?
No, there's no auto hits. I don't think yeah, I don't think you can indirect with narc, but you do get a bonus on the cluster table, which for all of your mechs that are running narc ammo. Which, if you have a narc pod, every single one of them should be running narc ammo, unless you have Artemis, which it's a toss up there. Artemis does the same thing inherently.
Yeah, now you got me pulling out the battle mech manual as well because I'm thinking, doesn't the Narc Beacon get disabled by all that ECM that he's packing?
Actually, I think you're right. The narc beacon does get disabled by ECM.
Yeah, so maybe that's not quite as a impressive, hit on a 7 as I was expecting.
But I think the Koshi does have ECM on its own, so he could be doing the Trace Buster and doing the counter ECM and making his narc beacon useful again.
Well, we knew this was about to happen. That anvil that's right up in front of that Koshi 3, I'm seeing a large pulse. Looks like it just hits the leg and takes a hip out. There is a right torso hit. It goes internal as well. And another medium laser blows the leg, or oh, the right torso completely off. And that center torso's got 9 armor left. So he's missing half his mech after just one good alpha strike. Roll needs 9s and 7s, 0 and 11s and 10s. This hot dice.
Well, needing 7s is pretty average. That's a 50-50 on whether or not you're going to hit. He just happened to hit both of the 2 7s he needed on those large pulse lasers, which, if you ask me, he should have never been that close with that Koshi, at least not this early in the game, to be giving up 7s like that.
So now he's in front of a very heavy mech, and he's got some leg armor missing and our torso missing. If he doesn't fall over completely, he's about to get another leg taken off.
Oh yeah, the kick from that anvil is gonna destroy the leg and transfer or transfer to a torso somewhere. Fire Falcon C though, opening up with those XRMs, fishing for crits, not finding any. He does get a headshot on the Mad Cat, but nothing going internal. Just scraping up the armor all across the mech.
I'm so disappointed in that Wraith. It had 2 medium pulse laser chances. I guess it did get 1, but it just took some left side armor. It didn't do much of anything there.
Yeah, but I mean, at least he's starting to chip away at one of those helicopters. Nothing spectacular, but it's better than nothing. Better than completely missing. Next up, the Vulture A Mad Dog, firing the ERPPC, the LBX5. Both of them tag the Timberwolf, so more than likely that's going to be at least one piloting check for that Timberwolf. Maybe we'll see it with a bonus, depending on if it's taken 40 damage. He only fires 2 more narc capable ammo on these SRM6s, and he hits with 1 of them, peppering him up a little bit more, shaving him down. Only 3 armor remaining in that center torso.
Now, the disco ball here came from Spencer's Gifts, apparently, because it missed everywhere. So it was just a nice little light show.
Oh, yeah. Keeping your Koshi pilot well entertained with 7 or 8 medium lasers there. Scrolling down, we got the Marauder 2C. Hag 20 needs a 7. Roll Snake Eyes. That's the second turn in a row. He's needed, decent numbers, an 8 and now a 7. I would take those all day on those helicopters for how fast they're moving, and he's just not connecting. And on better news, though, he does nail the Mad Cat with another ERPPC. 1 armor remaining in that right arm after that brutal hit, and the other ERPPC hits the left torso. 6 armor remaining there. So Mad Cat's taking a beating this turn.
That's at least 50 damage. So with the enhanced, I forget the name of it, but the enhanced PSR for damage rules, he's taking +2 minimum for that damage. So he's got to roll a 6 or better to not fall over.
Yeah, and he's a 3-4 pilot, so pretty decent odds. We'll have to see exactly how much damage. Maybe he took 60 and he's got a higher target number.
Now, you'll notice that they're firing in order of their units, but also that makes sense because these helicopters are basically crit seekers. We're going to see a lot of misses here.
Oh yeah, 11s almost across the board and 10s. A couple of hits, couple of rotors being damaged, but nothing
Sol Roth's
dropping so
loaders.
far. Yeah, Sol Roth's helicopters are definitely getting the worst end of this stick of the conga line. They're definitely missing quite a bit more.
Oh no, look at Elroy's helicopter there on the Mad Dog A to the rear.
Ooh, that was rear arc. And he gets a through armor critical in the right torso. No critical fruit, though. He gets 2 of them, actually. Only 3 armor remaining in the rear right torso and 5 remaining in the center rear torso. He's got to watch out for his rear arc. There's a lot of fast units on the board that can get there in a hurry.
That was just on one SRM6. He had 2 more SRM2s, both hitting on the rear and hitting that rear right torso. So he's got 1 armor left.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. These cavalry attack helicopters are dangerous. That's 1 SRM6 and 4 SRM2s. Okay, these things are no joke. That's a lot of firepower that's getting added to each list. And I got a feeling that whoever utilizes their helicopters the best and is going to come out on top in the end.
I don't disagree.
All right, Sol Roth's helicopters still missing on 11s and 10s. And yet again, Elroy's nailing him on 10s. No rotor hit, but still peppering up Sol Roth's helicopters.
And we get to the damage phase here. I guess the Mad Cat didn't take as much damage as we expect. No, he had to take more than 20. Maybe that rule wasn't turned on by accident.
Maybe.
Because, yeah, he took more than 20.
Yeah, there's no way he took less than 40. So they must have missed the advanced piloting skill check for taking damage rule, which it is what it is. Sometimes there's oopses, and it's a little late to go back and start over again because by now they're probably at least a half hour into this game.
Well, and he rolled an 11. He needed a 5. So, that's one of those where edge cases do come up and it could affect the game, one roll here or there, but it's not going to be the end of the world because then you get cases like this where it wouldn't have mattered. It is important to turn it on, but it's not too important to go backwards.
Yeah, there's no reason to have it's not an unrecoverable game state.
And we're getting into the physical attack phase with that gigantic brawl in the middle there, and that Mad Cat is very angry.
Ooh, 15 damage to the right leg. Holy crap, the Fire Falcon has 1 internal structure remaining on that right leg. I thought he would have taken it clean off.
He must have only been on level 1 then, because otherwise that would have been on the punch table.
No, he decided to kick the Fire Falcon instead of kicking the Mistlinks, which is an odd decision unless he had worse numbers on the Mistlinks, which I understand because the Mistlinks likely jumped.
Gotcha. And that Koshi in return decided that it needed to pop the shins on that anvil, which kind of looked curiously back down at it before murderizing it with 12 damage blowing off the leg there. Takes out a hip, lower leg, although those criticals were already done. That Koshi is on the floor, I think.
Oh yeah, he's going to be taking some falling damage at the end of this round for sure. Fire Falcon C also kicks the Mad Cat. So that's another piloting roll for being kicked. Koshi standard 3 has to make 4 piloting skill rolls. I'm surprised he didn't kick with the Koshi standard. I thought he was in melee range, but I guess not.
Well, and whether he needed to make 4, piloting rolls or not, doesn't really matter that much. He's falling because that leg's destroyed and manages to take a seatbelt failure on the way down.
Yeah, so he's now up to 1 total pilot hits. I don't think those are going to come into play before he just gets obliterated because a Koshi missing a leg is as good as dead.
We got the anvil though. It's also falling, so it's got the armor. It can take it. It's a brawling unit, but it's also having to be a little less maneuverable next turn. I wonder if all those helicopters in the middle of the map are going to suddenly reprioritize here.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Uh, yeah, so the important thing to note is the anvil is not missing any legs, so he'll be able to stand up next turn, assuming he doesn't fail his piloting check. He also didn't fail his seatbelt. It did not fail his seatbelt roll, so no pilot damage on him so far. Koshi coming in at 12 heat from those engine hits. Fire Falcon and Mad Dog sitting at 2. Thug sitting at 1. Black Knight at 2. Anvil now at 4. And Hunchback at 3. So everybody's starting to heat up a little bit. It's getting spicy in the center of the map. Going into round 3, Elroy wins initiative this time. So Sol Roth is going to have some hard decisions to make. Ooh, there we go. All right. First thing that stands out to me, that Koshi Standard 3 is enforced withdrawal. So it's prone. Granted, it doesn't really make that much of a difference for this particular match because there's no objectives to be grabbed, but that is points on the board for Elroy.
The other thing is, anybody wondering where those pips come from, view client settings, turn on those first two options. That black pip is so useful to tell you a mech is in forced withdrawal.
Yeah, you'll notice the Fire Falcon C only has a red pip. He is not in forced withdrawal, but the Koshi with the black pip is. So the black pip is really the one that's important when it comes to determining whether or not you're in forced withdrawal. All right, standing out right at the get-go, 2 mechs prone in the middle of the map. I expect there to be even more of a cluster here to take advantage of these prone mechs.
Well, I want to see that Thug move upfield. So that Koshi would be a nice target for it, given that it's prone. And isn't it, what, +1 or 2 to shoot a mech that's prone at a distance, but once you're closer, it's minus something?
Yeah, if you're adjacent, you get -1, I think. And if you're not adjacent, you get a +1 to shoot at it, which is a penalty, of course. And it looks like he's not going to worry about it and just send the sway back into melee range of that Koshi. So he'll be able to give him all 8 of those medium lasers and a kick. I don't think he needs to commit anything else to it, because from the looks of it, I think it failed its or either it failed its piloting check to get up with one leg, which is very likely, or he just swiveled in place because he has no leg and it's not worth standing up.
Now, you'll notice, though, Sol Roth moved that Koshi to get a rear shot on the Hunchback, but we would expect to see that Anvil stand up and then kick that Koshi. So that Koshi just signed his own death warrant, unfortunately.
Yeah, not to mention he also chump dumped his Clan Medium Battle Armor Rochelle in the middle of the open. Not even a forest, no level 1 cover. I don't like that one bit.
He's probably going, I need to get these things off before I forget to unload them again. So,
Yeah, better late than never, I guess, but they're going to be easy pickings for anything that wants them this turn. We'll see if Elroy will take advantage of that, or if he'll focus down the mechs instead.
You know, I didn't think about it, but those helicopters going after battle armor that gets dumped like that would be a good use of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere to hide if they're flying up above you. And, go ahead.
So Black Knight moves up to join the party against that one Koshi. Fire Falcon moves, but again, a light clan mech with very little TMM is in the rear arc at least, but he's getting like maybe 1s and 2s if he jumped on these TMM numbers.
That Fire Falcon cannot jump, so he's more than likely only at a 1 or a 2.
And if he came from those woods there, he's at a 0.
No, he came up from over here, so he likely either came down this way or he went around this way.
Gotcha.
I got a feeling that Mad Cat is just going to back up 2 hexes down a hill and then kick that Fire Falcon in the butt, literally. Yeah, I'm not liking this trade in the middle. I don't think Sol Roth is going to come out on top of this. Light mechs against heavies and mediums in point blank range, not in their rear arc, is not where you want to be.
So another pro tip there is one of those Koshi should have flipped its ECM to ECCM mode to turn off the Anvil's ECM so that Mad Dog can come up and pop a bunch of SRMs on that Mad Cat.
Oh yeah,
Or no,
definitely.
was it the Mad Cat or the Anvil? I forget now.
I think it's the Mad Cat. All the fire went on that Mad Cat last round, if I remember correctly.
That's right, yeah. So if he had turned ECCM on, he would have gotten the bonus. But as it is, he's going to get denied.
And it looks like the Anvil stood up and decided to join the conga line. Now he's in the rear arc of that Fire Falcon C. Uh, Not a lot of TMM, but it really doesn't matter because he's got the armor to take a couple hits. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess if you count the Koshi, a 6 mech conga line going here in the middle. And I can't see a situation where Sol Roth comes out on top unless Elroy rolls terribly next turn.
I think I saw a horror movie about this once. Something about centipedes.
With the human mechapede. All right, let's look up in the north here. We've got a little bit of action. The Wraith looks like it jumped probably for all 7 hexes, putting its back up against level 1, but that's not going to help you against helicopters. And Sol Roth decides to move one face to face with the Wraith. Don't know if I like that one. I would have liked to see him move into the hex with that other opposing helicopter and take the rear shots if possible. I don't know if he had the movement to get there, but flanking and flying is risky, I will say.
Well, and also, why did he move the Wraith there? You had a good chance of popping something. Why move it first unless it's just in the order of the mechs you would have moved? I'd rather have seen him move some of those helicopters down south where the game is kind of like complete and save the Wraith for deciding, to join the middle or to jump away. Because at this point, Sol Roth could, in theory, just move all of his units away from the Wraith, and then the Wraith is kind of useless this turn.
Yeah, he can either commit to it or outright ignore it. I'd like to see Sol Roth maybe go for side arcs on that cavalry attack helicopter, or even better, move into the hex with the Wraith, because stacking rules, you can have 2 helicopters in the same hex as a mech, or in the same hex, period. So then the Wraith can't even fire back at you, if I remember correctly, because you're in the same hex. But also, to point out, the Thug did finally move up, so you got your wish there, Pirate. And the Marauder 2C stays, doesn't quite stay still, actually. I take that back. He moves up 2 hexes to get a clearer line of fire to this middle area of the map.
Yeah, I didn't think about moving helicopters into the same hex as the unit you want to avoid it being shot. I may use that next time.
Yeah. It's similar to throwing battle armor into the hex with a mech, except as long as you're at height 3, they can't punch or kick you back.
True.
All right. There's not too many things left to move. That Mad Dog is one of them, and there's a whole lot of helicopters need to move too. Oh, looks like we got a bit of a zoomed in kerfluffle over here. There we go. 2 more helicopters for Sol Roth chasing that Wraith. I don't like that positioning in the front arc of that Wraith, and then rear arc on the cavalry attack helicopter here. You want to get to the side arcs. He may not know about it, that the side arc is the way to go to take out these helicopters, so he's just doing the, I see rear, I'm going for it, like you would on a mech.
In the meantime, Wraith has full options to take out 1, if not 2 of those helicopters with his pulses.
Oh yeah, definitely. Depending on what his target numbers look like, he could split fire and possibly take out 2 helicopters this turn if he gets lucky. Also, to point out, he did drop the elevation, so they did notice it. So good call there, guys. Good catch. All right, only a handful of units left to move. Most of them are helicopters. And there we go. Looks like a helicopter over here to the south for Elroy is looking to make a flanking maneuver onto that Marauder. He's not quite in position to take advantage of the rear arc on the Marauder 2C currently, but he will definitely be next turn. That Marauder does not move nearly fast enough to hide from that helicopter.
That looks like a skid right there.
It could have been. We'll have to check the piloting log. I'm not sure which number this is, but looks like it might be number 1 or 2.
Yeah, and that Marauder 2C, I'm trying to see what's in its right arm that could turn and fire that. And looks like we've got, I was trying to see which one, this is the first mech in this list. But that right arm has nothing, actually. No, that's the Anvil. We'll see if there's anything in that Marauder 2C that can even turn and hit him.
Looking at the record sheet, he's got an ERPPC and an AP Goss in that right arm. His Hag 20 is in the left torso, so likely not being able to bring that to bear on that particular helicopter.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe you get the right arm to do some or AP Gauss damage. Don't know if AP Gauss is considered a flak weapon, but is something. And then you've got your left arm that can shoot at everything else.
Now that you mention it, I'm not sure. I don't think it is, but I can't remember the last time I fired an AP Gauss rifle at a helicopter. We'll have to look at the target numbers and see if he decides to shoot at it, whether or not we can parse it out. All right, there's only a couple of helicopters left to move, and there we go. They all dogpile in on that Wraith and Elroy's lone helicopter up to the top. We'll see if the 4 helicopters beat 1 helicopter in a Wraith.
So for those of you that are listening while doing other activities, it basically looks like a bunch of tadpoles swarming around a cluster of frog eggs.
Yeah, that's a pretty apt description. One thing to note, that one remaining helicopter that was right about here was able to get around and get into the rear arc of Marauder 2C5. Let's see if he can make something happen with that. But now I think we're going to get into lines of fire because there's pretty much nothing else to do.
Well, looks like Marauder 2C is going after the Timberwolf, which is probably the right move there. Vulture going after the Hunchback, and the Conga line is doing exactly what we thought it would do, and it's Conga-ing.
Yep, definitely what we expected there. Looks like a lot of Sol Roth's helicopters are focusing down on that Wraith. I'm not sure if that's the play. The Wraith is pretty hardy, and he's probably got a pretty decent target number, considering he likely jumps for 7, especially considering the direction he's facing.
Well, you do have 70 SRMs now headed to that Wraith.
That's fair, but they're probably on crappy target numbers compared to the target number he could have gotten on that helicopter that's right in front of him as well.
True, but I could probably smell the I'm gonna kill that MFer kind of coming off those green helicopters right now.
Yeah, no, I got you there. That and a mech is far more dangerous with those large pulse lasers to these helicopters than another helicopter just firing SRMs at skill 4 is. Well, nothing surprising really down here. Cavalry attack helicopter shooting in the rear. This one down here hasn't drawn a sign of fire, but we can only assume it's going to be able to fire in the rear of that Marauder 2C. Mad Cat moved up into melee range with the Mad Dog, so we'll see if he stays standing and is able to get a kick on the Mad Dog in the melee phase. Speaking of which, let's get into firing. Oh, and there's a slip for 3 hexes on one of those cavalry attack helicopters for Elroy. Maybe that was the one that didn't quite get in the rear arc. And another fail. So a lot of slipping and sliding for Elroy's helicopters this turn. 3 total skids. One of them was a 3 hex skid.
Alright, so just see what that Timberwolf do.
Looks like he nailed that Marauder 2C with his Gauss rifle. 8 armor remaining in the left arm. And the large pulse laser tears up the right torso. 6 armor remaining. 3 armor remaining. I'm sorry. The large pulse laser and this small pulse laser burrowing in to the Mad Dog in point blank range, needing only 5s to hit and connecting. The LRM-10 needs 7s, but misses with 1, and then he connects with the SRM-4. So definitely putting the hurt on that Mad Dog and tagging the Marauder 2C with the Gauss rifle. Maybe he was fishing for a lucky headshot to just one-shot it outright.
Now, interesting on the Thug, he fired those SRMs first and then the PPC, so something in the firing order is off, but he did strip all the armor off the center torso.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that he did fire the PPC when he did, because he missed his rolls up top. He actually would have hit the second one, but you generally want to fire your more damaging weapons first and then go for the crit seekers like the SRMs after. So bit of a misplay there. No, not really any reason to fire them in this particular order pretty much ever. But it is what it is. No harm, no foul.
Well, the Koshi, though, looks like he got a through armor crit on an SRM on the shoulder of that Hunchback. So there's only a medium laser and a fist there, but takes away some of that firepower.
Yeah, he's going to have harder to hit numbers missing a shoulder actuator. But he did miss with quite a few of those on 7s. One, two, three out of what, 5 or 6 misses.
True. And Hunchback in return, it only gets 3 lasers off against the Vulture, which is still 15 damage, so it's nothing to poo poo at, but it had, what's that, 3, 6, 7, 8? 3 out of 8 hit, needing 7s. That's just bad rolling.
Oh yeah, and one thing to note, he's not firing at that poor little Koshi that's prone in front of him. I think he's saving his kick for the Koshi, hoping the kick will be enough to put it out of its misery. Risky play, but I guess when you have 7s on a heavy mech, you take those 7s, especially when the Koshi's pretty much no threat to you at this. And we've got the Fire Falcon C unloading into the Black Knight. And yeah, definitely rear arc, but he's hitting arm a little bit on the center torso, arm again, miss. Pops him in the head for one, gets a pilot hit on the Black Knight, but gets another pilot hit on the Black Knight with the SRM-6. So 2 headshots on the Black Knight, which is not bad. Maybe you can take advantage of that later. But nothing else really to write home about for that Falcon, Fire Falcon.
I've got a sneaking suspicion that rear shots give you a higher chance of hitting heads. It's anecdotal, it's probably nothing, but man, I see a lot of headshots when I shoot in the rear or get shot more often.
Yeah, no, I think Princess or Megamech definitely favors headshots. They happen quite a bit more than I think they should, according to probability.
Now, here's an interesting move. That Black Knight shot at the battle armor instead of any of those other mechs in the area.
Well, it's probably his best shot. He needed 4s and 6s to hit him because they were standing still. So he's taking advantage of it while he can. After this turn, they're probably never going to stand still again. So he does get 1 trooper down with his hail of fire. He only missed 2 shots. It's just most of the damage spread out between the rest of the troopers. Poor little Trooper 4 got double tapped by a large pulse and a medium laser. So the rest of them are all surviving with their 10 armor.
That lunatic definitely went through zombie training school to double tap.
Oh yeah, that's what we like to see. Mad Dog nailing another cavalry attack helicopter with his LB-5X, damaging the rotor but not putting it down. And the SRM-6s burrow into the Hunchback, but nothing critting. And there's nothing to crit really on the Hunchback other than center torso engines.
The Anvil takes out another trooper, so at least that.
Yep, down to 3. If he loses 1 more trooper, it'll be enforced withdrawal. But more importantly, he's losing out on firepower with these battle armor. The first turn, they're in play. They're not even able to shoot back this turn.
Marauder 2C does nothing. Wraith does nothing. And now we're getting into the mini helicopter misses.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see what Sol Roth does with all those helicopters against that Wraith here.
Uh-oh, looks like Elroy's getting first helicopter blood. Nails 1 in the rotor, and then he gets right side critical on the ammunition. So one of Sol Roth's helicopters goes up in flames from an ammo explosion on a through armor crit.
324 damage.
Whew, that is one big firecracker. And he's got 9s on the Wraith with the rest of them from the looks of it. And he's connecting here and there with some missiles, but nothing really finding any purchase. Elroy unloads with the helicopter on the Clan medium battle armor while they're standing still, needing 7s. Peppers up trooper number 1 and trooper number 5. 5's got 0 armor remaining, so 1 more missile and he's out of the game.
Well, and one of these helicopters, SRM-6, and 6 missiles hit that Wraith, so trimming it down, I think we're at PSR range now.
Maybe. There's a lot of misses, though, needing 9s and 10s for the rest of these helicopters. Oh, and Elroy comes in with the rear shots on the Marauder 2C. None of them going internal or critting, but shaving that rear armor down. Rear right torso only has 2 armor remaining, so he's definitely not looking good at all, especially because next turn he'll likely have 2 helicopters shooting into his rear arc.
And that is a lot of hits. You know, those helicopters were missing a lot against each other. That is a lot of hits on the Marauder 2C.
Yeah, only needing 6s. Going down into the piloting skill rolls, Mad Dog's okay. Marauder 2C makes it. Black Knight falls, needing a 6. Uh, Takes a little bit of damage. Nothing to write home about. And he makes his seatbelt check. So he's at 2 pilot hits currently. That would have been his 3rd, and that would have been a dangerous unconsciousness check if he would have failed that seatbelt roll.
Well, and he's on the floor in front of a Fire Falcon, so he's about to get kicked again here.
Oh, yeah, maybe he'll kick him in the head and give him that 3rd piloting check. Or piloting hit, I should say. Wraith and Hunchback both stand up, or both make their piloting rolls as well, I should say. They're already standing. All
well,
right.
It looks like Koshi just does its kick on the Hunchback, doing a little damage. Timberwolf returns it on the Vulture, does a little damage, but I'm seeing that anvil and that little teeny tiny Fire Falcon there.
Oh, yeah. 12 damage to right leg. Section destroyed. 11 damage transfers to right torso rear. Ooh, uh-oh. Critical hit on a double heatsink. 11 damage right torso rear. Armor section destroyed. 5 damage transfers to center torso rear. Goes internal. Critical hit on the engine as well. Location has no more hittable critical slots. Yeah, that is bad. He's got 6 internal structure remaining on that rear torso on a Fire Falcon.
That's 2 engine hits at least, so force withdrawal, but I don't think he's making out of it that hole.
Yeah, no, he's going to be overheating for sure next turn. Rebuttal from the Fire Falcon connects on the Black Knight, only needing a 3 and rolling a 3, so living on the edge there. Hunchback kicks the poor little Koshi standard 3, destroys his left arm, but the Koshi's still there, fortunately for him.
This is the point where that Koshi is, you can hit it anywhere and it's just going to attritionally move towards the center torso. So even if you hit a leg or an arm next round, it's going to be a torso hit.
Yep, and that Fire Falcon C has no leg, so he automatically falls. He doesn't make his seatbelt check, takes the piloting hit. He is more than likely not going to be long for this world. Not having a leg on a light clan mech is a death sentence, as we mentioned earlier. So that's 2 legged light mechs for Sol Roth. Not looking good for him so far. Vulture and Hunchback both make their being kicked piloting checks.
Looks like the Fire Falcon's the only one that pumped up the heat. I would like to see him and the Koshi 3 just unload everything they can next turn. They may not have that much left to fire, based on their arcs and being on the floor. But, they're going to die. So just go ahead and shoot what you got.
Yeah, I don't think that Koshi 3 can even fire. It might be missing an arm, so it can't prop itself up, I do believe.
True, and it's a clan mech, so it doesn't have torso weapons.
Yeah, he gains 10 heat and he sinks 18. That 10 heat is from those 2 engine hits that he's got. So I think he's pretty much initiative sink at this point. He could choose to eject him and save himself some points and deny some points from Elroy. But something tells me he's not going to do that.
I always forget that that's a change in the variant here, but I need to remember that because if we're doing mathematical point scoring, that is probably the right move.
Yeah, I agree with you. And probably for that Fire Falcon as well, because he's at 12 heat and he's legged. So he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And he's already shot to heck up. Moving into round 4, that Hunchback did generate up to 7 heat. That's something to look out for. He's close to shutdown rolls. But round 4, Elroy loses initiative. So Sol Roth will move last this turn. A little bit of fresh air for him after a devastating round 3. So he lost 1 helicopter. Yep, there's the squish. And he's got 2 legged mechs. So there's a helicopter that blew up like a Roman candle. Here's the Fire Falcon on the floor. And here's the Koshi that's still on the floor. Surprisingly, that Mistlink's eye came out of this turn smelling like roses. I don't think he even got shot at, or if he did get shot at, they all missed because he seems to be perfectly fine.
So I'd like to point out that the Thug is within walking distance of the Fire Falcon. It can just walk up, kick it, unload its SRMs, and it can shoot its PPC somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not a bad call for that Thug. Yeah, I mean, the turn pretty much plays itself out for him, I'm pretty sure. Uh, let's get into movement. I don't see anything else standing out other than the Black Knight is prone as well, but he's still got both his legs, so he will likely not be prone for very long.
He'll be fine.
Same thing that happened to the Anvil last turn. All right, opening moves. Looks like Elroy is getting some more cavalry attack helicopters to head toward that Marauder 2C. That's one in its front arc currently, and the Wraith jumping down south. Those cavalry attack helicopters are going to be chasing the Dragon, also known as the Wraith TR1. Looks like Fire Falcon and Koshi both did not move, sinking that initiative, as that's pretty much the only thing they can do this turn.
Now, I'd like to see that Hunchback stand still almost, or turned and put its rear arc somewhere. But if he does that, that Vulture can get up on the ledge and kick it. So curious to see what he does with that Hunchback.
I kind of want to see that Mad Cat walk right behind the Mad Dog right now to force it to move forward. You cut off its backpedaling escape path.
You could still backpedal. You could turn, go backwards. And well, no, because then you get stuck in those trees. Yeah, I think you could probably find a way to make it to those trees with that level 2 cover, but then you're in, again, head capping problems.
Yeah, there's plenty of more movement left to happen. Let's get into it. And that Thug that you called out earlier
There you go.
did make that move.
It's a perfect move, and it's going to play itself out, and you have lots of armor, so it's the best one to move first.
And here they come. 2 cavalry attack helicopters. I'd like to see them both get in the same hex so that they're in the rear arc instead of one being in the side and one being in the rear. Better positioning on these helicopters could make the difference if he connects in the rear arc with one more SRM6.
I'll disagree with you there, because if you're still hitting on 11s, just ignore that Wraith. Go take those helicopters and go finish off that Mad Cat.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. He likely doesn't have any other shots. That helicopter hasn't moved yet, so he can't position for that. And they're definitely out of range from joining this kerfluffle in the middle or backing up the Marauder 2C5 down here. So they're spending a turn moving down and taking shots at the Wraith while they're at it. The Anvil moves up onto the hill right here next to the battle armor, which definitely jumped into that forest. They only jumped for 2, so that means they have no movement modifier, but they do have the forest to kind of break even. I would have liked to maybe see them move to here. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4 jump into a forest, and they would have had cover from most of these other mechs, especially considering how damaged they are, and they would have been threatening the Mad Cat, forcing it to move.
You're not wrong, but I'd have rather seen them jump right in the same hex as the Anvil for 2 reasons. One, you've got those point SRMs, so if you had any SRMs left to shoot, they, I think, get a bonus for hitting, or he has the option of doing a leg attack. But for the second reason is stomping is +3 to the roll. So you have a chance of, you might lose another battle armor, but you also have the chance of him missing and forcing a PSR.
Actually, now that you mention it, he probably could have jumped into the hex with Thug. That way he has to choose between kicking that poor little Fire Falcon and punting one of these battle armor guys off.
True.
All right, let's get back into the movement and see what moves next. The Hunchback stood still, by the way.
They called it.
Yep. Hey, man, it's almost like you can see into the future.
Yeah, well, I do play with loaded dice, so.
Or you just can see the optimal move. Whoops, a little bit of oopsie daisy there. Okay. Now looks like. Go ahead.
That Mad Cat. Look at that Mad Cat. It's first of all, the Marauder moved up to try to avoid getting swarmed by all these helicopters, but that Mad Cat also moved up, so it's definitely wants to come and play with that big boy there.
Yeah, that's pretty ballsy from that Mad Cat. He's already jacked up quite a bit, and that Vulture can turn around and chase him and get rear shots with all of those SRM6s. I wonder if that's what Sol Roth's going to do. He did kind of give the slip to 2 of these cavalry attack helicopters, but there's still 2 more right here that can just turn around and get into that rear arc. So, yeah, he's taking, less fire in theory from these two helicopters, but he's still not getting away from these two. They're gonna get in his rear arc no matter what.
So Sol Roth needs to back up 2, turn 2, and walk forward 1, and then he's in short range with his SRMs on that Mad Cat's rear.
Let's see if that's what he does. That would be
And
perfect.
he's out of ECM range as well. So the cluster bonus I think comes into play, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely would. That's
Yeah,
if he takes that opportunity to go for the rear arc.
True.
It looks like most of this kerfluffle in the middle has moved. All right, there's one of Sol Roth's. Is that no? That's Elroy. Sorry. So there's 2 cavalry attack helicopters in here for Elroy. Wait a minute. What does that say? Does that say elevation 9 right there, or am I seeing things?
I'm gonna hope it's a 3.
Okay, maybe it is a 3, and it's just obscured. Yeah, we'll assume it's a 3.
Other thing I see is the Black Knight is moving into kicking position on the battle armor.
Yes, good call. The Koshi eye still hasn't moved. Neither has the Mad Dog. Another helicopter moves up to take more shots on the Wraith from the looks of it. And one moves up to get maybe rear arc on the Mad Cat, possibly side arc. A little hard to tell from this angle.
The Koshi should be able to run and get a rear arc on the Mad Cat too.
Yeah, definitely. It can run for 12, and that's definitely less than 12. It could probably get in kicking range.
Would like to see that, and it would escape the anvil a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And he'd generate a decent modifier, too, for defensive purpose. Let's see what Sol Roth decides to do. Oh, there it is. He did move the Vulture, like you called, into the rear arc of the Mad Cat, but he decided to go rear arc with the Mistlink's eye onto the Thug. Probably a jump to stay defensive because that Hunchback still hasn't moved yet. Oh, wait, no, it did. Never mind. We're into the firing phase.
Yeah,
So everything has moved. I apologize.
I'm not sure if I like that so much. The Thug has armor, it has ammo, so if you can hit that ammo bin, great. But it only has 1 ton of ammo, so you have to hit the correct side torso to open it up. And the Koshi Eye just doesn't have that much oomph to it. So I'd have rather seen him run up and kick the Mad Cat rather than kick the fresh Thug who is unlikely to explode.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. Or maybe, as a secondary option, instead of getting in the rear of the Mad Cat, getting into punting range of the Black Knight so he could kick him in the head.
True. We do enjoy kicking him in the head here.
Oh, yeah, every chance you get. But I do think the optimal move would have been getting into the rear arc of that Mad Cat and bringing all of your SRM-2s to bear and getting the kickoff at the end of the round. So you do have the Vulture here. So you would want to fire the Narc Beacon on that Koshi into the Mad Cat first and then unload with the Vulture to take advantage of the Narc Beacon. Although there is already a Narc Beacon, so that might be why he decided to change targets.
Now, if the Narc Beacon's on the left leg and the left leg is blown off, does the Narc bonus still apply?
No. If the section with the Narc Beacon is destroyed, the Narc Beacon goes with it.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, it looks like the lines of fire are going to be fairly obvious. Let's see if there's any surprises.
Oh, the only surprise
Whoa.
really is the Anvil taking a rear shot on the Mad Dog.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's enough things shooting at the Koshi Standard and the Fire Falcon. Well, actually, is there anything shooting at the Fire Falcon? It looks like the Black Knight's firing at the battle armor, as is the Hunchback. The only thing shooting at the Koshi Standard 3 is the Thug, probably because he has terrible numbers on it with those PPCs or SRMs.
And the Koshi Eye is firing on the Black Knight, not the Thug.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. You've got rear arc on both, but you've got, I think, worse target numbers. No, that's still 3. Maybe you've got better target numbers in the Black Knight because he didn't move, or if he moved, he didn't move enough to generate a modifier, whereas the Thug definitely moved for a +1.
Oh, we'll find out in a second.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Marauder 2C returning fire onto the Timberwolf and taking a shot at a cavalry attack helicopter with its hag. Surprisingly, though, it's not one of the ones in short range. It's one of the ones pretty far away. Uh, Not sure why he made that call. Maybe there's a minimum range on the hag that I'm forgetting.
No, it's because he wanted to shoot at the Timberwolf, but you see, he had the torso twist, and the hag is in the torso.
Oh,
So
that's right.
if he shot any of those other helicopters, he wouldn't have been able to shoot um,
Gotcha.
at the Mad Cat.
All right, let's get in to the combat log and see how this firing round shakes out. A lot of piloting checks. All of them succeeded. No skidding for any of the helicopters this turn.
We got the Mad Cat trying to be hyper aggressive there, but seems like it missed quite a few of those rolls.
Yeah, needs 6, needs 3, hits the 2 threes, and misses the 6 and the 5. That is bad rolling for that Mad Cat. Maybe not 2 turns in a row, but that's twice so far where he's whiffed on some pretty low numbers.
Well, and that thug comes up and tries to go executioner style, pop that PPC at the Koshi 3's head, but luckily he has just enough armor to survive that.
Yep, 2 internal structure remaining, but that is a second pilot hit.
I don't know if I like that shot though, because the PPC is great. I mean, either of those may have done enough to kill it, but I'd rather fired one PPC and two SRM 4s or 6s, forget which one's on there, instead, because he's generated a lot of heat but only got one hit.
Yeah, and he's opened up in a lot of locations. He could go crit fishing with those SRMs instead of taking the shots with those PPCs. Black Knight nails one trooper with a large pulse laser. Trooper number 5 is no longer among us. He also connects with the ER PPC on the Mistlink's eye. Is that? Huh, I thought the Mistlinks was behind him. He must have torso twisted and got a cheeky arm flip or whatever.
Yeah, probably right arm rotated.
Yep. Needs an 8, rolls an 8.
Ooh.
Koshi loses his right arm.
Well, in return, though, he gets a crit hit on a through armor critical, or a upper leg hit on a through armor critical on that Black Knight. Otherwise, just kind of sandblasts his rear armor, not doing much else.
See, you would have wanted to trade that through armor critical for a head hit, especially because that Black Knight's already got 2 of them. Getting into 3 is pushing into dangerous unconscious roll territory.
The disco ball continues to be set on demo mode, not doing anything other than one laser hitting a trooper, but doesn't kill it.
To be fair, he did need 9s, so not an easy number to hit. Anvil unloads into the Mad Dog in the rear arc, nailing him with 2 large pulse lasers. But surprisingly, one hits the right arm, and one hits the left arm, which 3 armor and 0 armor remaining on each of those.
The Mad Dog tries to do something, but misses a helicopter, misses that Timberwolf right in front of it. I think the way this one played out, the ERPPC and LBX were going at the helicopter, then he had a +1 to hit the Mad Cat. While it wouldn't have done anything because he would have still missed, he was prioritizing the helicopter over the Mad Cat there.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done the same, especially knowing what we know now. You're better off going for, the actual mechs, leaving one alive maybe, and then going balloon popping once you've dealt with your enemy's force. Also, that hurts. Needing a 6 with the LB5X, I'm rolling a 4. Yeah, hate to see it.
Well, and the Wraith continues to do absolutely nothing.
Yep, it's been jumping and pulsing, but not hitting. I think he nailed 1 laser this whole game so far. But he is drawing a lot of fire, so he's kind of doing his job. Oh, and here we go. Finally, some breath of fresh air for Sol Roth. The Marauder 2C5 nails a cavalry attack helicopter with the Hag 20. Takes out the rotor, 0 armor remaining, and engine destroyed, critical hit on the right side, so it's immobile. So if it survives its fall, which it doesn't look like it will, nope, there it goes, destroyed by damage. But if somehow you do make one of these helicopters immobile, it is going to be on level 0, which means it's under the level 1 threshold, and you are required to eject it at the end of the next round.
In a normal match, though, you could just have it as a turret or a pillbox, but you're correct on this one.
Yeah, normally you can have it sit there all game and it's perfectly fine. But because it's an objective piece, there's a few special rules.
Now, Elroy has his sorry, Sol Roth has his Marauder 2C still set for the default weapons because we got ERPPC Gauss, ERPPC AP Gauss. So good news is both the ERPPCs hit, a leg apiece. But bad news is if the AP Gauss did hit, it would have been better for them to be fired last for those crit seeking reasons.
Yeah, definitely agree there. You want to go for high damage first, as always.
Cavalry attack helicopter though, putting in some work. 6 SRMs, 2 out of 2 missiles, 2 out of 2 missiles. Um, he's hitting that Marauder 2C and ends up opening up the rear right torso and taking out a heat sink.
Yeah, that is not good. You need all of those heat sinks on that Marauder 2C5 to stay neutral. He's going to start generating heat if he continues to fire all of his weapons every turn. Clan Medium Battle Armor finally getting in on the action, shooting their machine gun and both SRM3 one-shots. Okay, so you can fire them on the same turn. They connect on the Black Knight. They even get a head hit, and he needs a 7 to stay conscious. And of course, that Black Knight rolls a 12. No lucky break for Sol Roth. That could have been game changing if he failed that consciousness check.
Agreed. And we got another helicopter just kind of brushing that Wraith. One of Elroy's. Oh, there's some red. Doing some damage more on that Marauder 2C, hitting that right rear torso to take out another heat sink. And head hit on the Marauder 2C, but it looks like it was only his first one, so he's still up.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine. It's only one. Everybody gets one usually. And return fire for Sol Roth. He's got a damaged rotor on another cavalry attack helicopter of Elroy. Doesn't quite go internal, but there's 2 internal structure remaining.
The amount of rotor hits we're getting here, because I see 2 more on another of Elroy's helicopters on Sol Roth's, makes me think like these rotors are like 40 feet long and dangling over the side of each of these things.
Well, it is a rotor. It's pretty big. Oh, hang on. What do we have here? Sol Roth's cavalry attack helicopter nails the Mad Cat in the left side table with an SRM6. Right, 2 damage to the right arm, critical. Armor destroyed, internal structure. Nails the Gauss rifle. It explodes for 20 damage. That's 2 piloting hits on that Mad Cat that's already taken one earlier. Needs a 7 to stay conscious. Rolls an 8. Ooh, needs a 5. Rolls a 6. Staying alive, but he is missing a right arm now after that Gauss rifle explosion.
And he's taking a lot of extra hits, those SRM2s. There's another 6 missiles they're hitting.
Oh, yeah. Peppering him up across the mech. Not finding any more crits, though. But, a crit on the Gauss rifle is good enough, if you ask me.
And there goes the Marauder 2. It's failed its piloting roll, rolled Snake Eyes, needed 4, and it's on the ground, takes a little damage for its pain.
Ooh, that's not good. Luckily, that Marauder's not in melee range. But,
no, it's pretty safe.
Yeah, but that's an already pretty immobile mech. Now you're basically going to be sitting in that hex next turn. Maybe 1 or 2 hexes out. You're going to have 0 TMM, which means even easier shots on your rear arc by those helicopters.
And the Mad Cat needs to roll another one, but it's fine.
Black Knight actually falls, though. Needs to make 2 piloting skill rolls, and he fails the second one on 7s. Needs 7s, rolls a 6.
And it can't roll boxcars constantly, I guess.
No, you can't win them all, because he falls, fails his seatbelt check, and takes his 4th piloting hit, needs 10s to stay conscious, and finally blacks out with the 6. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Sol Roth there.
Immobile mech, but what's he got to shoot at that's left there in the middle?
Not the Fire Falcon, that's for sure. The Thug kicks him and just obliterates that poor little Fire Falcon. 6 engine hits taken. Check for engine explosion on 10. Rolls a 9. That would have been a nice time to stack pull. Not quite getting it.
Yeah, and the Hunchback does another kick on that Koshi, which is apparently a tank at this point. 3 internal structure on the CT left, but it's still alive.
Yeah, barely. barely alive. Mistlinks kicks the thug, just chipping away at that very armored left leg. But the thug rolls boxcars and stays standing perfectly fine. Okay, so it looks like nothing's really getting too high on the heat curve. 5 on the Vulture A, 4 on the Marauder 2C, and nothing really else to write home about. Going into round 5, Elroy wins initiative. Not a good sign for Sol Roth. He needs to be able to take advantage of that unconscious Black Knight. Okay, damage report. Fire Falcon, gone. Black Knight, prone. Koshi, still prone. Clan medium battle armor, in force withdrawal. More points on the board for Elroy. Mad Cat, not quite in force withdrawal, but jacked up pretty good. Marauder 2C, prone. And it looks like we lost another helicopter up here, maybe? Or is that a squish from earlier? I think that's a squish from earlier. Never mind.
There's so many of them. Eventually we're going to get players that are like, you know what? I want to shoot down those helicopters in such a way that it spells my name out in the middle of the map.
Now that would be pretty funny. All right, let's see what these opening moves are in round 5.
Hunchback decides to get out of the firing arc of the Koshi, not that there's much of a firing arc there to begin with.
Yep, and the Clan medium battle armor Rochelle moves into the Hex with the Black Knight. I don't know if that's a walk or a jump. I'm hoping it's a jump because at least you have a 1 TMM. There's never a reason to not jump if you're in battle armor because you don't take a movement modifier penalty for your own movement.
I don't know if I like that move too much. He could swarm that Black Knight, I guess. You could leg kick it with a really easy hit because it's immobile. But I'd almost rather have them tried to jump on the Hunchback or leg kick it there because he's out of SRM ammo, I think.
Yeah, he shot them both off last round.
Yeah, so unless you're going to leg attack him, there's not really much you can do to that Black Knight, even though he's immobile.
Now, I think if he's immobile, this is your chance to swarm. This is the only time when swarming is a viable tactic. And he's got 4 piloting hits, which means he's unlikely to wake up. He needs 10s.
Gotcha.
It's possible, but I would go for the swarm at this point because he needs as much damage as he can get. Granted, he only has 2 troopers left, and the machine gun only does 2 or 3 damage each, but they'll both hit the same location. Maybe he'll go.
If he's got the machine gun, then yeah, you can call your shot. Yeah, then absolutely jump in there, use the machine gun, and go for the head.
Yeah, especially because they both automatically hit the same location, and you get the -4 for target being immobile. That's the only time I would consider actually swarming, especially because he's already prone, so he can't fall and knock you off. All right, let's get into the next set of moves. Interesting coming up. Marauder 2C stands up and moves a little bit, and the Mad Cat gives chase into his rear arc. That's not looking good because that Marauder 2C is already open in that rear right torso.
I also noticed the Wraith looks like it jumped to try to join the fray because originally the Wraith was trying to get on top of the Marauder 2C.
Oh yeah, good catch. The Wraith jumped from around here somewhere down to here. So it looks like he flushed the Marauder 2C out of his current position and opened him up for rear shots from that Mad Cat. I expect to see a lot more helicopters just whipping around and getting into the rear of that Marauder.
Yeah, and that Marauder 2C does have lower arm actuators, so it can't flip. So it can try to use its HAG 20 on the Wraith, but not really much it can do on that Mad Cat other than pop another PPC and AP Gauss round at it, and in return, it still does have that open right torso.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for that Marauder 2C. Thug moves up into level 1 so he can get... No, he's behind level 3 and he's level 2. He may or may not have a shot on the Marauder. If he doesn't have a shot on the Marauder, he's not in a good position. I guess he can torso twist and put shots into the Koshi to put it out of its misery. But he's a little out of position right there. I would have liked to see him move maybe here to guarantee line of fire on the Marauder. Or maybe he does have it. We'll have to find out.
I don't think he does, because he's right on the line, and Megamech usually does Defender's Choice, so he's probably not got a line.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what I was assuming was the case as well. But You never know. I've seen some strange things.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into these next set of moves. There's not too many really options to make here. We've got some helicopters moving in. Yep, there it is. 2 more into the rear arc of that Marauder 2C5. I don't think he's going to survive this turn. He's got basically no target movement modifier, and that's a lot of SRMs in the rear arc.
Now, does that Mad Cat have any open front torsos? Because I see a lot of those helicopters from Sol lining up to shoot at it, but curious why they didn't go for the rear.
You know what? They may not have had the range because they were up north by a good amount of hexes, and by the time they get down here, they probably didn't have the movement to get into rear. But if I remember correctly, he did take a beating earlier in the match, so he's either got low armor or no armor in some of his front locations. He's not in forced withdrawal, so he probably has a little bit left in the torsos.
Now, if I was Sol here, I would look at that Koshi eye. It would be real tempting to try to go to the rear of that hunchback, but I think just to get some points on the board, you probably want to go ahead and just pump what you can into that Black Knight.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Right now, you just need points. You're already behind. You've lost one unit. You have 1 enforced withdrawal that's not long for this world, and you're probably going to lose that Marauder 2C this turn. Get what you can while you can. It's not looking good for Sol Roth right now, but he does have an opportunity to get some points. Let's see where these last moves go.
Oh, the Koshi is lining up the kick, or, I guess it could shoot at the Black Knight. And the Anvil, interesting choice of positioning. I think it jumped or moved off of there just so we can line up a good shot on the Koshi.
Yeah, I don't think the Anvil can jump, so he likely came down around this way. Or, because if he would have come down this way through the trees, he probably could have only got to here and not gotten into melee.
Gotcha.
Which is where you want to be. But that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He probably actually could have gone this way. But
either way, he's still in short range for his large pulses and I think medium lasers, if I remember that mech right.
Yeah, and more worryingly, a lot of these helicopters aren't getting rear arcs on the mechs like they should be, or like they could be. All right, I mean, this turn pretty much, I don't think the lines of fire are going to surprise anybody here. Maybe the Thug will do something funky.
Oh,
nope.
Thug is going after the Koshi.
Yep, that's exactly what I expected. All of these helicopters are pouring damage into the Mad Cat. Maybe they'll get lucky and take it out. Mad Cat's pouring damage into the Wraith. I don't know if I like that. That Wraith is pretty unscathed in the front arc. Most of the damage that did hit went to the rear torsos. I would have liked to see him just use that Hag, which he might be doing on one of these helicopters.
Because you'd have to score 4 helicopter equivalents to match that Wraith, and it's going to take you several turns. So, yeah, if you had a decent shot, maybe popping one of the helicopters out of the sky for some points now is better than not having enough mech to kill that Wraith.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have very many good options, but I don't know. Okay, movement phase, only a couple of skids here, nothing to write home about. No accidentally slipping off the map or running into trees and blowing up with your helicopter that we have seen.
Speaking of blowing up, we're at the Mad Cat here.
Okay, Mad Cat unloading into the rear arc of the Marauder 2C. Large pulse laser, left arm, not important. Small pulse laser, right torso rear, 11 structure remaining. LRM 10 nails him in the rear table, right torso rear, 6 internal structure remaining, takes 5 missiles, no crit. Left torso rear, 3 damage, 17 internal structure remaining. Critical hit roll is 12, 3 locations.
Well, would you look at that? Gauss ammo doesn't explode, even though you basically took out all of it.
What do you know? A little bit of saving grace there. All 3 of those crits, 2 on the Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle ammo and 1 on the AP Gauss Rifle ammo. No boom, though, so, well, at least for now. There's still a lot of firing to go into the back of this Marauder 2C. SRM4 connects. Now he's down to 2 internal structure remaining on that right torso rear, and there's still a whole lot of SRMs coming his way. one SRM and that rear torso, and that Marauder 2C is done.
We got the Koshi here, sandblasting the Hunchback. I'd have rather seen that on the Black Knight, but it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Granted, he can't aim his SRM2 because they're SRMs, but I still think he should have shot at the Black Knight in the rear arc. Maybe it had full armor, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Well, and the Thug doesn't miss though. EPC again, right on that Koshi and takes out the left torso and blows the engine on it. So there we go. Finally got that Koshi down.
It only took him 4 more turns, but eventually it went down because it's not moving. It's sitting there literally just sinking initiative. Oh no, and the LB5X misses on another helicopter. You hate to see it.
You know, it doesn't miss though, is that SRM6.
No, you're right. And it's got the +2 bonus for that narc beacon, so I think all 6 of those missiles hit. Goes internal on the left leg. Other than that, nothing really to write home about. Just shaving the armor off that Mad Cat. Actually, now he's peppering that leg a little bit more. Center torso is exposed, 22 internal structure remaining, and the left leg takes a lower leg actuator crit. So far, further down, we keep scrolling. More SRM6s fishing for those crits. Engine hit on the Mad Cat and a second engine hit. So he's at least in forced withdrawal now with those 2 engine hits. And that's 10 points on the board for Sol Roth.
The Anvil is continuing the trend of not hitting with the large pulse laser that the Wraith started. It's got a medium that takes the armor off the leg of the Koshi that's still standing, but skip.
Oh yeah, missing on 6s with those pulse lasers. That's got to be frustrating.
You know, it's also frustrating. This Marauder 2C's ability to hit pretty much anything.
Missing across the board. No, he hits with an ERPPC on the Wraith. Fair enough. Gets the center torso armor completely stripped on that Wraith with 1 ERPPC, but you really wanted to see him nail one of those helicopters with that Hag 20. Missed it on a 9.
You know, if you roll enough dice, eventually something hits. So I can see this on the table with this Hunchback against the battle armor. So it's like miss, 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 miss. All right, there's 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. Small laser misses. It does kill a trooper, but he's still got, I think, 1 more trooper left out there.
Yeah, I think he's down to 1 little dude. 1 man, barely alive. And the rebuttal needs a 4 onto the Black Knight that's not moving, and he misses with a 2. Yeah, this is why I think he should have gone for the Swarm since they're unconscious.
Fair enough. Wraith, though, medium laser hits the side of a helicopter. That's the end of that story, but that helicopter, though, is ticked. It turns around and fires that SRM6 at the Mad Cat. I'm already seeing crits rolling all across the screen there. I see Artemis 4 fire control, SRM 4, another engine hit, and boom.
Oh, there it is.
Ammo explodes, and that Mad Cat is down.
That's a 3rd engine hit, so the Mad Cat's done this turn because of that ammo explosion. So finally, pouring fire into that Mad Cat pretty much the whole game finally pays off. But there's still a whole lot more SRMs to go around with these helicopters. There's another rotor hit. Oh, crashing. More SRMs going into that Mad Cat that's already down and out. Double hit on the gyro and a 4th hit on the engine. That's in Stackpole territory now with 4 engine crit slots taken up in 1 round, if I remember correctly.
Oh, disappointing for Sol Roth, though. Another cavalry attack helicopter. It finds that rear torso right and manages to get an engine hit and an SRM 6 hit. Luckily, it didn't hit any ammo.
Yeah, I was just about to say it could have been a lot worse. But we're not done yet. There's still more firing from these SRM 6s. Sol Roth nails another rotor on Elroy's cavalry attack helicopter, but doesn't put it down.
But Elroy's attack helicopter, though, it manages to hit the AP Gauss rifle ammo, which explodes.
That's the rifle itself. Holy crap.
It's the rifle itself. Yep, the rifle explodes. 2 pilot checks.
Oh no, are you kidding? An AP Gauss rifle exploding for 3 damage gives you 2 automatic pilot hits? What?
Oh, and he hits the hag too, which is another 2 piloting hits. He needs a 10 to stay conscious, and he just can't do it.
No, that's his 5th piloting hit right there. That's 4 piloting hits in the same turn. Yeah, you're likely not going to stay conscious with 5 total piloting hits. One
Yeah.
more, and he is dead. DED.
Oh, and you know what? That same helicopter is not done yet. It blows off the right torso with another rear shot and takes out the PPC in the left arm on its way.
You know, I think this might be it. That Marauder 2C is basically dead in the water. He's got his Koshi left, and he's got a bunch of attack helicopters left. But, I mean, he's got the Mad Dog with that's all critted up. There's more crits going in on this poor Marauder 2C from the rear. They crit the Hag 20 again and do 2 more engine hits. 1 more engine hit. That's 3 engine hits on top of 4 piloting hits. That Marauder 2C is done. Out, down and out. I don't think he's got enough battle value to be over 20% with the Mad Dog and the Koshi. Maybe he does barely. Maybe he's at 21 or 22%. But I think this might be game.
Well, that Mad Dog is a little expensive, and you do have all of those helicopters still in the field.
That's true. They might be buffing up your battle value just physical attack for the Koshi bonks the Black Knight in the left arm. Doesn't really do anything.
Well, looks like we're getting in the heat phase. Nothing surprising here other than the Mad Dog, despite getting torn up a good bit. It was a 9 heat. That's not the worst thing in the world. And the Black Knight at the end of this phase stays unconscious. Don't think he's really got anything other than that Koshi again to hit him.
Yeah, no, he needs to go for headshots with that Koshi. 2 head hits will kill the pilot outright.
So Sol still has 38% of his BV, so it's probably that Mad Dog. And that Koshi is not cheap either, I imagine.
Oh yeah, that's actually surprising. I forget the Mad Dog is like 2200 battle value. So you're right. He's still in this, even if it's barely. All right, let's get into this next round. I don't think it's going to go much further than this one because there's 2 units left for Sol Roth, and there's a whole lot of units left for Elroy. Hang on, did we catch who won initiative there? I think it was... Yep, it was Sol Roth. So at least he gets to move that Koshi dead last.
So if I was Sol Roth and then this position, maybe you could try to go after that Wraith's front armor, but I think finishing off the Black Knight is more important. Get all those helicopters over there and just blow it to hell.
Where is that Mad Dog? Oh, he's in the forest. Never mind. He's covered by a ton of
Rambo
cavalry.
is definitely hiding.
All right, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into movement. I mean, Sol Roth doesn't have very many options. He's got 2 real units to move and a bunch of helicopters to sync initiative.
So you got the Anvil and the Thug move up to try to corner that Vulture.
Yeah, and you got the cavalry attack, one of the cavalry attack helicopters going to get a side shot on the Thug, or maybe a rear shot on the Hunchback, or maybe some shots on the Black Knight that's immobile to try and take him out.
Yeah, -4 to hit that Black Knight, so yeah, just get everything up there.
Yep, there's another one closing in. We'll see if he moves all of his attack helicopters in position. There's a third one. I don't think that one has line of fire, but he's starting the helicopter Congo line. Here we go again.
Yep, he's going for the objective point there.
Can't say I blame him.
No, I mean, if he can knock out that Black Knight, it's +10, +5 for the helicopter, but buy the insurance and just take out the Knight.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. That's your easiest shot, for sure. It looks like everything is moved. The Vulture moved up a little bit. I don't know if Elroy is letting him live and, letting him linger so we can get more shots on these helicopters, or if he's just going to unload onto him with the Thug and the Anvil and try to put him out of his misery.
That would be a valid tactic, because if he ends the game now, he misses out on 20 objective points.
Yeah, that's correct. And you need all the points you can get for ranking. It's real close, especially toward the top and the top middle of the pack. Let's see what the lines of fire look.
He's got what is shooting the Vulture?
I think that's one funky looking line. It looks like maybe it's coming out of the Thug and there's a PPC going there, And another PPC coming over here. That's a really weird line of fire there. I can see that the vulture is shooting at this helicopter that's right in front of him.
So the thug is basically going like Trinity from the Matrix, sticking an arm out in either direction and firing.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. We'll have to find out in the combat log. The Wraith and the Anvil pouring fire into another cavalry attack helicopter. I think that Elroy does want the vulture to live for at least one more turn. We'll see if whatever he's shooting at it nails that Mad Dog in anywhere that's important.
When the Mad Dog is just peppering away at that one helicopter, though,
He,
hit some points there.
he may still have his LB5X, so that could take out that helicopter. See. Koshi into the side arc of the Hunchback.
Don't
Yeah.
shoot the Hunchback.
He's shooting the Hunchback with all, well, not all, but with two of his helicopters. And one of these helicopters is pouring into the thug because he doesn't have another shot from the looks of it. I don't like that call. I think you just take out the Black Knight and go for the easy points.
Yeah, that Hunchback has too much frontal armor there.
Yeah, that, and it's got nothing to blow up. You can't crit seek anything on this. There's no ammo in it. At least go crit seeking on the thug if you're going to do that.
It's one of those at this point, all of your stuff is getting blown to pieces. You know, rage mode activates, and you just want to go kill something. If that Hunchback is what you're ticked at, it's going to be the object of destruction.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's take a look at the combat log. Okay, little bit of slipping and sliding, but nothing terrible. Ooh, wait, one helicopter slides 3 hexes. Uh-oh.
All right, but we're getting into shooty, and the thug blows the right leg off of the. That was a critical hit, which was a 12, which blew the right leg off the Mad Dog. So,
ooh, good lord.
Put him down.
Yeah, Oni did fire both PPCs at the Mad Dog, so I'm not sure where or what that other line of fire was.
That was weird. Unless it was a helicopter in the same hex or something.
Oh, that's possible. It just blended in with. Then we've got the Anvil unloading into a helicopter, not finding any purchase, just shaving some armor off the front right.
All right, Mad Dog, you've got like 30 SRM launchers and a bunch of LBX. Let's see you take down at least one helicopter.
Misses with the LBX on 9s, but connects with 1, 2, 3 SRM6s, and there it is. Internal rotor hit. Section destroyed, no rotor. That means that helicopter is dead. So he finally gets a kill on one of these helicopters after chasing them all game.
5 points on the board there.
Yep, and 5 points off the board for Elroy. So it is still a 10-point swing.
So Wraith misses battle armor. Hits with, is that the machine gun?
Yep.
Didn't do much of anything though.
Hits him in the left torso. Why isn't he aiming?
He might have aimed, but
oh, yeah, that's right. It's still a roll to see if you actually
hit it. Yeah, I think 6, 7, and 8, or maybe something like that.
Yeah, it is 6, 7, and 8 to hit your actual target. And the Hunchback kills the last trooper with his disco show of medium lasers, missing most of them, but hitting with enough of them to kill that last dude.
Oh, helicopter on the thug, scratches the armor. Not much else to say there.
Yep, just peppering the pretty pristine thug at this point. Elroy, what is this? SRM hits. Sol Roth has lost its movement and crashes. That's one more helicopter out of the game for Sol Roth. So he got 5 points for blowing up an enemy helicopter, and then he lost 5 points for losing a helicopter. So that's a wash at this point.
So then we get to Sol's return fire. He needs 7s to hit that Hunchback. He would have needed 3s to hit the Black Knight. He hits one of the SRM2s with a through armor critical, which doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no. And then he needs 10s on... Elroy needs 10s on the Koshi. Misses with his helicopter. Sol Roth's, I think, second to last helicopter. Nails the rotor on another of Elroy's, but doesn't put him out of his misery. The other one of Elroy's helicopters whiffs across the board at the poor Clan Medium battle armor that are already dead.
Well, and Sol Roth scratches the paint on that Hunchback again, but in return, Elroy gets a decent, it looks like a couple hits on that Koshi, a hip hit, I see, and internal on the center torso with 6 internals left.
Oh yeah, a hip hit on your Koshi is pretty much a death sentence at this point. You can't kick, and you got to make piloting checks every time you run or jump. Not a good look. He does get a head hit on to the poor little hunchback, but no consciousness check.
Koshi stays standing, but Mad Dog falls, doesn't explode from an ammo hit, doesn't black out. But I think that's his first head hit, but he's definitely down.
Yeah, that is his first head hit, but he's not looking good. Falling is not what you need right now.
All right, we're at 24.53% BV and a little heat on. Maybe that was Mad Dog. So this is the final turn here.
Yeah, 8 heap on that Mad Dog. This has got to be it. Let's see if Sol Roth can pull out a miracle. I would like to see him put that Black Knight in the ground. That Koshi can get up and just stay there and stand and deliver and get all of those cavalry attack helicopters into the rear arc of that Black Knight. Nope, not what happens. Okay.
That's okay. The thug moves up. I like how the helicopter looks like it's an extended head of the thug there. But he's going for rear shots on the thug and the helicopter. And the Koshi, I certainly hope he goes after that immobile Black Knight. But
Oh
Mad
no.
Dog fell, and it ain't going to do squat.
He didn't make his piloting check to get up. Oh no. It probably fell at least twice because he's got a decent amount of movement on that vulture.
Now, can you arm flip when you do one arm prone? I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can. I think you only fire in your front arc if you do one arm prone. And that thug is in his rear arc. And if I remember correctly, he's already taken some rear hits on that vulture.
Yeah, so that vulture's probably best shot is to try to aim at that wraith and hope he hits the center torso. But that's a Hail Mary if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, but if he hits him with enough of those SRMs or gets lucky on the crits, he can take him out if he gets 3 engine crits.
You can't hit him on the SRMs. He's prone.
Oh, no, that's right. You can't torso twist. All right. I mean, let's just get into it. I mean, I'm sure these lines of fire are going to speak for themselves. I don't think that vulture can hit anything. Yep. Rear shots for these helicopters on other helicopters. And on the thug, I don't know if I like that call. I would have liked to see these helicopters just put that Black Knight out of his misery. I know we're harping on that, but go for the easy points. I mean, there's no reason not to. The Koshi's at least unloading into the Black Knight's rear.
Yeah, so I think if we can see that Black Knight explode, that's probably the best outcome. I mean, Vulture is firing at the Wraith, but that Black Knight exploding and maybe something going boom in the Wraith is the best we can hope for. And then that'll leave Elroy with 3 non-crippled mechs still on the field and 2 helicopters.
At least 3 actually, because there's one in that same hex as the thug.
That's right.
All right, let's get into this log. I got a feeling this is the last turn. Okay, no slipping and sliding. Koshi unloads into the Black Knight with those SRM2s.
Just can't do enough damage.
No, you can't aim with the SRM2s. That's the problem. You can take advantage of the -4. So he needed a -2 to hit, which means he automatically hits with all of them. They just don't do enough in any locations that matter.
Well, the Thug definitely didn't miss. It's got a SRM4 on the rear ×2, and then a PPC blowing the right torso off. So that Vulture is in force withdrawal at this point.
Yep, and we'll see if he even survives because there's still more firing to come. Oh, there we go. The Anvil, I think, takes out that poor little Mislinks. Section destroyed on the right torso, and then section destroyed on the center torso with 9 damage from a large pulse laser. That's it. Koshi's down.
Vulture does this one-arm shot, does take out the left torso, but just a couple inches too far to the left and misses the center.
Yeah, if he could have done 15 damage to the center, he would have at least gone internal. I don't know if he would have destroyed the Wraith outright, but he could have had a chance for crits to put him in force withdrawal. Wraith returning fire misses most of his pulse laser shots on 6s, does hit 1 medium, but doesn't take out the helicopter. That poor Koshi gets ripped into by the hunchback, needing 5s, and he finally hits with almost all of them. Still misses with one.
Good thing he can shoot a corpse.
Yeah, no kidding. Uh, Rear attacks for Sol Roth's helicopters on the Wraith. 10 internal structure remaining on the left torso. Nothing to write home about. He's still alive. Ugh.
Well, we're going to see any helicopters get taken out to finish out some objective points.
Not looking like it. Sol Roth firing on to Elroy's, and Elroy's firing on to Sol Roth's, but they're all just missing each other with 10s and 9s.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Real big, real fast. So we got the SRM-6 from Elroy's helicopter, peppers the Mad Dog in the rear. I see right leg transfers to torso, torso transfers to center, hits the LBX ammo, blows that out. And then we've got, it's another engine hit there. That Mad Dog is down.
Not only is that an engine hit, but the pilot's also unconscious because he needed a 5 and rolled snake eyes. So even if he didn't get destroyed by engine destruction, he would have been pretty much out of the game. So the Koshi's done, the Mad Dog's done, and that's game. There's nothing else left but some helicopters.
Yeah, he doesn't stack pole, but yeah, he's gone. Sol Roth can't take another helicopter out of the sky, but Elroy can take some rotors, but doesn't look like it finishes anything out.
Wraith falls. Nope, doesn't fall in his center torso and blow up. So that's going to be it, folks. That's got to be the end of the round. Yeah, no more mechs left on the field for Sol Roth. Let's look at the end screen. It looks like the Thug got 2 kills, the Anvil got 1 kill, and one of Sol Roth's cavalry attack helicopters got a kill. Iceman was the pilot's name. So, attaboy Iceman.
Well, I mean, if you look down here, we've got Kevin number 12 and Kevin number 187. I'm trying to think of where these names might be coming from, but I mean, Elroy had 2 helicopters. They got 2 kills.
Yep. His helicopters were firing at mechs more often than Sol Roth's helicopters. And it shows. It looks like they really paid off taking out more mechs.
Yeah, Airwolf was definitely in spirit here today on Elroy's side.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up this match. We can go over the score. I'm pretty sure Elroy didn't quite max out because he definitely lost at least a couple of helicopters. I think he only had 3 left. He had 3 left at the end of the match. So for Elroy, that's going to be 15 surviving helicopters. I think Sol Roth still had how many helicopters up? 4?
I think 4 sounds right.
Yeah, so he gets another 5 for destroying one of Sol Roth's helicopters. So he's at 20 objectives. He's definitely at 50 for a combat score. So he's sitting at 70 points plus the 20 for the victory. He's at 90 points for this round.
Plus, didn't he have a cheese bonus or 2?
Does he? Oh, yeah, he's got 93 points. Sorry about that. He does have the Hunchback and the, the Thug. The good old reliable Thug.
Now, the flip side, if we look at Sol Roth.
Yeah, he was able to take out 2 of his objectives. So he's got 10 points there. He had how many of his helicopters live? 4 still. So that's another 20 there, if I remember correctly.
So we're up to 30, but I'm struggling to think if he killed any mechs. I just feel like he did, but
he only got the Black Knight. No, wait. He got the Mad Cat, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he got the Mad Cat and the Black Knight in forced withdrawal. So that's 30 points minus a star. So 7 times 5. So is that what, negative 5?
No, I think he would max out at negative 25. Actually, he would be at the full negative. He lost all of his mechs and his battle armor, which counts as a unit.
But you can shift that, so he could be at plus 30 and then minus 35 in order to be at negative 5 overall.
Yeah, so I think he would go negative 5 combat, and then he's still positive on objective. So
Correct.
He would go from negative 20 so he would, this would get canceled out because he was at what, negative 6 times 7 is 40 something. So his points are completely negative on the combat side.
Yeah, so I think that brings him down to 20, 30. I think it brings him down to 25 overall on the combat.
Hang on,
No,
no, no.
yeah.
Wait, what was that?
This
We
is why
don't.
you don't let me do math anymore.
No, we don't do math here. Hang on. Why is my calculator not? All right, we can do this. Hang on. We have the technology. So it's. Oh, maybe my calculator
You know,
doesn't
it's
want to work.
funny. I thought that 20 and 10 was 20 and 10 above you there. So yeah, 30. Those 30 cancel out. Do they?
So he's at negative 42 for losing all of his units. So after the 30 points he got, he'll be at negative 12. So he'll at be at 18 positive for this match, which, considering he got his whole force destroyed, is not bad actually.
I agree with that. I tried to find anything that says intro tech before forgetting that he's a clanner.
Yeah, no intro tech for clanners. I mean, they might have the option to take intro tech, but they usually don't because that kind of defeats the purpose of playing clanners.
Correct.
Yeah, but there were some questionable decisions with those light mechs early on in the game. I don't like how he ran them into the middle. Let's take a look toward the beginning. This kerfluffle over here in the middle went very poorly for Sol Roth. He didn't get any damage off, at least not any significant amount of damage on any of these heavy and medium mechs with his 3 light mechs. He didn't really utilize their movement. I would have liked to see him jumping around over here in this hill and playing Ring Around the Rosie over here with this hill. It was just light mechs up against medium and heavies in a brawl, which is never where they want to be.
Well, and then you got that Mad Dog, which it took a while to get into play, and when it did, its screen was basically gone. So you lost the point there, and then those helicopters up north kept chasing down that one Wraith, which they were never going to hit anyway.
Yeah, that I think was the biggest difference. Most of Elroy's helicopters were down south attacking mechs, while Sol Roth's helicopters were chasing the dragon, chasing that 7 jump wraith and not really connecting on it all game.
It was good seeing two different styles bash against each other, but yeah, the amount of maneuvering by Elroy was definitely what put him over the top here.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I think whoever utilizes their helicopters the best is going to win, and I think Elroy did the better job. He found easier targets to shoot, and he took advantage of rear arcs on slower mechs instead of chasing a fast mech around the map. Even though you're faster than the fast mech, you still have bad target numbers because you're at 4 piloting skill, and you're running pretty much every turn with these helicopters to keep pace with that wraith. But overall, I think it was an interesting match. It definitely shows what you don't want to do with light mechs when you're a clan player. And I think that even though he kind of threw away these 3 light mechs in the middle, he still had a chance if some luck would have went his way. He definitely missed a lot of shots that he should have hit on these helicopters with his Hag and with his LB5X, and the ones he did hit didn't really connect on anything important. No through armor crits to the rotor or anything, or engine crits to the VTOLs like I've seen in other matches.
And I think it was a pretty sound move to put that Marauder 2C on a hill back there to try to just pick pot shots into the middle there. But when you got those helicopters swarming you, you're going to get eaten up if you stand still.
Yeah, actually, I would have liked to see him bring a Koshi down here, and then once he saw those attack helicopters going for the Marauder, bring the Koshi back and give it some cover. Those SRM2s on that Koshi I and the heavy smalls on the Koshi standard would have ripped those helicopters apart, especially with that targeting computer canceling out the +1.
So MVP on both sides here.
I'm gonna have to say the MVP for Sol Roth was probably that Vulture, or no, I'm sorry, the Koshi I. He stayed alive the longest in the match. He went down the same time that Vulture did, and he did work. He got that Black Knight into force withdrawal and got him unconscious. He just didn't have any other units in position to capitalize on.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I was going to go with that Mad Dog. Wasn't he the one that finally took out that Timberwolf, or was it the Marauder?
I think it was actually a helicopter that might have done it, but it may have been the Marauder as well. I'm not sure. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but no, definitely. It's bit hard to decide on an MVP here, just because everything kind of played out about average, and those conga lines make it difficult. But yeah, for Elroy, I really enjoyed seeing that Mad Cat just basically be a threat all game until it fell.
Oh yeah, he threw the Mad Cat into the grinder, and it survived long enough for him to win the overall battle. Uh, that's a good vote for MVP. My vote would actually go to that Wraith. He was playing come catch me all game with those helicopters, and they gave chase, and he kept bobbing and weaving and jumping into forests and giving them terrible shots.
I said there was like 14 SRMs on those helicopters. Yeah, so that Wraith kept 14 times 5 SRMs out of the match.
Yeah, and I think he earned his battle value with that Wraith, getting all of those helicopters to. He basically was the Pied Piper of helicopters this match.
That's a good analogy.
But any closing thoughts on this match, Pirate?
Um, you said it already that helicopters, whoever can play them best, definitely would have been more successful. And, we called out that Wraith just distracted them all game. I would have liked to have seen more focus at the end of the match on the Black Knight, just get that thing off the board. But I do enjoy seeing players play aggressively. And wow, that ended up hurting his TMM and costing him those light mechs. Just seeing everybody go slam right into the middle of the map, that was a fun match to see there.
Yeah, I mean, we got to call it like I see it, and I don't think that was the play. Running light mechs into medium and inner sphere heavies, but it did make for an interesting kerfluffle. I would have liked to see him stay mobile with those mechs. The Koshi went down the first turn, understandable. It can't get out, but the Fire Falcon and the other Koshi I could have started skirmishing, jump out. You do the hokey pokey. You jump in for a turn, then you jump out for a turn, or you run in for a turn, get your close range shots out, and then you run out for a turn. I would have liked to see a little more finesse with these light mechs.
You know what would have been worse? Is if they both took sniperless, stayed on opposite sides of the map at long range, and put their helicopters in turtle mode behind a hill. That would have not been one we'd have even reviewed.
Yeah, no, if I would have seen that in a match, I would have watched the first 5 minutes of it and skipped to the end and see if anything interesting happened, and probably said no thank you. Speaking of watching matches, I need footage. We are moving out of March Mechness. This was the last tournament around for March Mechness. So the tournament is over for March, but there is another tournament coming up in May. April, there's a little bit of a break. So we will be starting Tukey at Heat on May 1st, I do believe, or at the beginning of May sometime. And it's going to be Inner Sphere versus it's Inner Sphere and Clan Mechs, Clan Invasion era on the Master Unit list, 7.5k battle value. And I need footage for me and Pirate to go over of people practicing for these new Tukey at Heat matches. They're a lot different than March Mechness. We're using the standard MRC rules this time around, so force withdrawal is in effect, and the maps are going to be a good bit bigger. So we should get some interesting lists. The only caveat is it's mechs only, so no battle armor and no vehicles this time around.
On a side note there, the NFL is advancing an era each quarter. So as we move into the next quarter, we'll be in the Late Republic, and there will be in a Heat tournament similar to this at the end of June, or the beginning of June, I guess. So Late Republic is also in place. So we're going to go forward and backwards in eras in the Megamech servers at the same time.
Yeah, so we got a lot of tournaments in the future. These are the only two that have been announced so far, but I know of at least a handful of other tournaments that are in the works currently. So now is the best time to get started and join. If you need help learning Megamech or need help navigating the Arcane MRC Discord, just ask, and there's plenty of people that'll be there to help you out.
And the best way to get better at Mega Mech is just to play a lot of games and learn from these mistakes. And not all of these are mistakes. Sometimes there's a really good play that you don't realize is a good play till someone calls it out. So we really enjoy seeing everybody jumping in and playing.
Yeah, that, and sometimes they're not mistakes. Sometimes you're just a gambling man and you want to go for broke, which I can respect. Not everybody likes to, you know, play the let's sit back and set up a firing line and poke shots at each other all game. Let's get in there and start kicking each other in the shins and see who wins. So I can respect Sol Roth for getting in there and mixing it up. I just don't think I would have made those same calls.
But at the same time, it's just fun to take your big stompy toys and just go bam at somebody really hard, really fast. And sometimes you don't come out alive, but that's okay.
Yeah, and to be fair, I did the same exact thing he did against Brad in my round 4 match, and it worked out the same for me. So I'm one to talk. But on that note, do you have any other closing comments or any shout outs you want to give there, Pirate?
There's a lot of people who've been joining MRC in the last 2 or 3 weeks as of the time of us recording this, and we're real excited to have you. So jump on in and let's get some games.
That's right. The more, the merrier. I'd like to thank, of course, Pirate for shoutcasting with me, Warning 44 and Lord Carbon for running the MRC, Vapor again for putting on a great March tournament for us with March Mechness. Hope to see it again next year, and I'm looking forward to your tournament coming up in June. And everybody else in the MRC that's hanging out and helping new people out, and all the new people for joining. Dip your toe into Mega Mech and let's get started and get some games going. All right, that's it for us. Thank you, everybody.
Adios.